All right, guys, welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to Press X Podcast. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and thank you for waiting patiently, as always, for the intro to finish up. I hope everybody is doing well today. I had to change my title, although I wasn't really able to update the thumbnail. Why does Boss immediately look like he's up to no good? Had to change my title and my thumbnail, or sorry, just the title. Gonna have to update the thumbnail a little bit later because we got breaking news, breaking rumor. I don't know. We're hearing about a potential PlayStation showcase or state of play, so we will discuss that. But we know that tomorrow is Gamescom, opening night live, the event to kick off Gamescom. We know that Sony will be there, and I want to talk about what other potential reveals Sony may or may not bring to the table, and just talk about our general excitement going into opening night live tomorrow. And we're also going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid Delta. Boss, what are you doing? Bro, over here. He's being very strange. Maybe he's trying to tell me something. What are you trying to tell us, boss? Is it actually going to be a showcase? Michael, thank you for correcting me on that. Thank you. You're apparently yesterday at some point I said I wasn't sure if Silk Song was going to be at Gamescom, but it was already confirmed that it is. All right. I appreciate you letting me know. All right, chill out, boss. Chill out. You're bracing for a state of play. That's what I would expect. Yeah, we'll talk about it. It's coming. So the good news about this rumor, I'm going to wait a couple minutes before getting into it so more people can file in and hear about it. Because the rumor came out literally 5 minutes before I went live. The good news is it's coming from pretty much the only source that has given us updates on when these events are happening. And that source has been pretty much 100% accurate. They have like a 100% track record. So that is the good news. Although maybe not too surprising at this point, considering the timing. But still, exciting nonetheless for most people, anyway. At least for me. I don't know if I can speak for anybody else. But we're also going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid Delta because we are just less than 10 days away, actually, from this game dropping. And it's kind of weird because it's like, oh yeah, like it's right around the corner. I mean, if you get the digital deluxe version, you're getting it, what is it, 2 or 3 days early access, which I'm definitely going for that. I can't deny. I'm going to get a physical version as well. I am going to double dip. They got me. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that it's almost here, man. It's almost time. We've been waiting. So I just want to kind of talk about my excitement for that, and also how David Hayter, excuse me, David Hayter believes that Konami could make a new Metal Gear, and it could be amazing, even without Kojima. So I'm not sure how popular that comment is going to be, but I want to talk about it and go over it, and I just want to kind of hang out with you guys for a bit as well, and so does Boss. So Corey says, Boss, no worries. He's got you. He's got you, bro. Corey's always got you. Please don't bite the mic, though. That needs to stay on. Nope, we're not doing that. Watch The Last of Us get a VR port announcement. I doubt it. That would be cool. Though. I've talked about how The Last of Us would actually be very cool in VR if they could like configure it to be first person. But yes, I hope everybody, like I said, is doing well today. It's Monday. It's actually, I was going to say it's nice outside. It's raining outside. So in that sense, it's not nice. But what's nice is it's actually cool outside. It was like 93 degrees yesterday. Today it is, what is the temperature today? Today, it's 69 degrees outside. Perfect. 69 degrees. Don't even have to run the air. It's very nice. So I'm enjoying that. It's probably going to get hot in here, though. Honestly, it always gets hot in this room. But I do have the windows open, so there is that. It's sunny in the UK, but you're glad when it cools down. Neo says it's 69 where he's at, too. I'm going to find out Neo lives right next door. Are we ready for a state of play next month? Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll get into that, Diego. Yeah, I'm going to talk about other announcements that Sony could potentially show up to Gamescom with tomorrow. And for those wondering, yes, I will be streaming the event tomorrow. I mean, I know most people assume I am, but just for clarification, I will be streaming Gamescom opening night live tomorrow. No, I don't believe so, luckily, Vinino. I've been kind of seeing things pop up about that. Always nerve-wracking, but as far as I'm aware, no. Should be good. Corey says his hope remains. Square should announce work on Chrono Trigger. So Gamescom opening night live kicks off at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So for me, I'm going to go live at my normal time at 12 p.m. Eastern, and we'll just hang out for the first 2 hours, let people file in, and we'll just go right into the, stream and watch it together. So yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. We have Garrett Green, a member for 22 months. Garrett, thank you for the long time support, buddy. You're saying, MBG, after 188 hours, I platinumed Death Stranding 2, built every road, mine, and monorail. I used all of my chiral bandwidth to make a zipline network around the mountain. Well, congratulations, Garrett. Good God. I had to give that one to you, man. 188 hours. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. What is a little bit surprising is you're saying that you built every road, mine, and monorail. Now, that's going above and beyond. That's going above and beyond. And even doing a zipline network in the mountains. That's something that I'm too stubborn to do. I should do that. And maybe at some point I will. But I just keep using the off-roader and getting very annoyed in the mountains. 188 hours. Yeah, it's the grind to get to Death Stranding 2 Platinum is no joke. I'm still in the process right now. I mean, I feel like I have like 9, maybe 10 facilities 5-starred. I have quite a few facilities that are very close to being 5-starred. But I think my playtime right now, Garrett, is at around 86, 88 hours, somewhere around there. I think I'm getting closer to the 90 mark at this point. So I would assume I'm probably going to land somewhere maybe around the 120-hour mark, give or take. That's my assumption for the Platinum. I'm making decent progress, but I still have quite a ways to go. And I think some of the more difficult facilities to 5-star, I have yet to do that. So it could end up being more than 120 hours, but definitely a good Platinum to earn, Garrett. And yeah, for me, if I'm able to Platinum this, it should become I believe my 50th Platinum, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, Death Stranding 2 is no joke if that's a game you want to get all the trophies for. No joke at all. So good stuff, Garrett. I'm assuming you're moving on to Metal Gear now. MBG, help me. I've been addicted to Pringles chips the last few days. I have to stop it. Yeah, Pringles are addicting. I like Pringles. Yeah, you can just blow through a can of Pringles like it's nothing if you really wanted to. It's not that difficult. All right. Guys, before we dive into these topics, again, I'm just kind of chatting with you a little bit here, letting more people file in, and we'll talk about this new rumor, because I know that people are going to be asking me all throughout the stream what the rumor is. Really, Garrett, you're not playing Metal Gear. Going to play Hellblade 2 until Yote. Good stuff, man. Yeah, you'll have to let me know how Hellblade 2 is. Playing it on the Pro? If so, you will have to let me know how it looks. Apparently it looks very, very good on the Pro. I saw Ninja Theory, actually, they like retweeted, I think it was like a review or something, where it said like this game is like a reason to get the PS5 Pro or something like that. And I was like, wow, kind of crazy, crazy to see what's going on. I like the salt and vinegar Pringles. The sour cream ones are really good too. Do they still make the pizza Pringles? I used to eat those. Those are pretty good. But anyway, I digress here. So yeah, before we dive into this topic and discuss it, I want to ask you to please take a moment and hit that like button. We are sitting at 45 likes, 5 more, and we can hit that 50. Hitting the like button definitely helps the stream and lets me know you enjoy it. And Garrett, get out. Out. Leave right now. I'm just kidding. Garrett says he's playing it on Game Pass. He was waiting for the 60 FPS patch. Well, hey, man, it's there, It's there. I'm hurt. I'm hurt, though. That it pains me. It pains me to see that Garrett, he's playing it on Game Pass, bro. It's all good, man. Yeah, if you guys want to support the channel, you know how we do it here. We're totally fan-funded. I can only do this podcast, do these streams, and produce the content I do on the channel because of the direct support that we get from the community. So there are a couple of ways in which you can help support. You can become a channel member. You will gain access to exclusive perks. You can gift memberships. If we hit 25, we will feed the beast. If we hit 50, I will do some reps. You can drop a super chat or a direct donation. Those are 4 ways in which you can support directly. I wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, so a big thank you and shout out to everybody who contributes and makes it possible. But obviously, I appreciate your viewership, irregardless. So thank you guys. What is it? Planet Schlorpian's birthday. He says he just turned 29. Went to see the new Superman movie as a gift. Well, happy birthday, Planet Schlorpian. Pringles and soda have been the bane of my existence the last few days. Soda can be very addicting. Soda is terrible for you. It's like the worst thing you can drink. But it is addicting. So, guys, we are going to talk about this PlayStation Showcase rumor or state of play. So, about 5 minutes before I went live, Mrs. MBG came in the room and showed me that on the Gaming Leaks Rumor subreddit, we have none other than Jeff Grubb, the single most reliable source when it comes to specifically PlayStation events and informing us when they're happening. Now, granted, he is pretty vague here, but the fact that he's saying it's happening means it's happening. It says here in the Game Mess Mornings podcast on August 18th, around the 20-minute mark, Jeff Grubb stated, I am comfortable saying that they are planning a state of play or maybe a PlayStation showcase around the end of September. So the top reply says Jeff Grubb is so comfortable that he started speaking in third person now. I love it. Yeah, so again, it's not a major rumor. Like, he's not specifically saying it is a showcase. He's saying it might be a showcase. But the most important takeaway from this is we're getting a time frame of when Sony is doing an event, and that is at the end of summer, at the end of September, which is also the end of summer. So I'm thinking we might be looking at the last week, maybe the second to last week of September. And this is not shocking. I was expecting that when Sony was going to do another event, it would be in September. But it is nice to get that confirmation that it is going to happen towards the second half. Abandoned is going to be revealed, reminding us of what we all need. Oh, God. Yeah, exactly. That's clearly what we can expect. The big reveal at the State of Play and or showcase. Why do I say and or? Like we're going to get a State of Play and a showcase. We're going to get a State of Play and a PlayStation showcase, guys. July is the end of summer where you're from, Gavin. To answer your question, Mrs. MBG, from my understanding, he still is like has people on his friends list and just plays games like Rainbow Six Siege or whatnot. So I don't know. You saw the Evil Game Dead got delisted? You mean this Evil Dead game? Oh shit. Hold on though. This is why I bought this and I didn't open it. Because I heard that it was going to get delisted, and I'm just like, you know what? Just in case. I feel like I did play this at some point. Or maybe I'm confused. I don't know if I played it, actually. I remember seeing it at, I think, maybe a State of Play. Shout out to Evil Dead. You know, I think the reason why that game got delisted, though, is because it's a multiplayer game. It's like an asymmetric multiplayer game. And I think it was supported for like the first 2 years or something, but you know, it's basically trying to be a live service title. And I mean, you know, that's the thing. There's a lot of live service games that are basically only a live service for a couple years before it's just that's it. I'm assuming they're keeping the servers open though. But State of Showcase, that's what they should call it, Prince G. A State of Showcase. Is that around Tokyo Game Show? Yes. Yes. So Sony did confirm that they will be part of Tokyo Game Show this year. And, you know, Tokyo Game Show, I think it happens towards the end of September. I know it happens every September, but I think it's usually towards the second half. Where's your Concord copy, bro? Oh, I got it. I got my copy of Concord. You don't have to worry about that. I got the Platinum in Concord as well. I also have the Platinum for that game. So, in case you're wondering how legit I am. You know, for those who wonder, yes, MBG did in fact get the Concord Platinum. Maybe... No, I don't think the State of Play will be at Tokyo Game Show, but there's a chance that whatever Sony is going to announce at their State of Play could show up at Tokyo Game Show or something along those lines. Oh, yeah, you know what? You guys, I think, are right. You're saying the horror game license, it's a licensing issue with Evil Dead. You're right. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That could be the problem. The Concord Platinum could be put in museums, MBG. Use that to your advantage and call it art. So Mr. B is thinking that Saros gameplay has to be there. So this is where I want to get into the conversation. So we have confirmation from Jeff Grubb that PlayStation is doing a show at the end of September. Now he says it's either going to be a State of Play or maybe a showcase. It seems like whoever his source is that he talks to can always tell him when the events are happening, but can never confirm whether or not they're actually a State of Play or a showcase. That could be because maybe Sony is also in the process of deciding. If I recall, there have been a couple times where Jeff Grubb did straight up confirm it was only a State of Play, but most times recently he's basically said it's seemingly always up in the air. It's either a State of Play or a showcase. Now, here's what's worth keeping in mind. At the beginning of this year, if memory serves, we got a rumor from Jeff Grubb that Sony was contemplating doing a showcase or a State of Play, right? Maybe one of you guys can tell me what month that was exactly, but I know it was building up to one of the State of Plays that we got in recent memory. And he was saying that Sony was kind of unsure of whether or not they wanted to do a State of Play or if they actually wanted to go all out with the showcase. As we know, they ended up doing a State of Play and not a showcase. So if they were already contemplating possibly doing a showcase way early in the year and decided against it, this gives me a little bit of, you know, I don't know if I want to say hope, but I think it increases the likelihood that what they'll do in September may end up actually being a showcase. Because if they were already thinking about it, but we're like, you know what, let's hold off. Maybe it was done purposely. They held off to save it for September. They've done September showcases a few times, actually. And we have Omen86, longtime member and supporter for 24 months. Omen says, I just came back from my holiday in Japan, visited Capcom Studios, played the RE9 demo, which will be shown at Gamescom, was blown away by it. Awesome. Dude, that is awesome. Yeah, wow, you get to play the demo. That's cool, dude. There's some hope in me that one of the things we see revealed during Gamescom, we know that Resident Evil 9 is going to be there tomorrow. I hope they make like a surprise announcement that the demo is actually like public now. Like you could just download it on PS5 and play it. Um, but that's awesome, dude. You got to visit Capcom. Dude, look, I have an article up here. Capcom will showcase its recent and upcoming releases with a 90-minute Capcom Presents panel at New York City Comic Con. 90 minutes. Dude, Capcom's basically doing a 90-minute event in September, bro. Which is crazy. I mean, you would assume, or sorry, it's actually not September, it's October 10th. So, good stuff, man. Capcom's been killing it. They've been doing a fantastic job. But that's cool, Omen. You took a trip to Japan, visiting Capcom, got to play RE9. I was wondering where Omen's been. I'm like, where's bro been? I can only assume you took your Switch 2 with you, right? Right? Yeah, we've been hearing things about the new Resident Evil movie. PlayStation Productions is the one actually behind that new Resident Evil movie, which is interesting to me. And they have the director of Zach Kreger, I think his name is. He did the movie Weapons, which is blowing up right now. Omen, he did bring it with him. Well, this is one of the things that I am very excited about tomorrow, and why I'm actually like hyped for Gamescom tomorrow, or opening night live, is because not only is Ghost of Yotei confirmed to be there, which of course I want to see more Ghost of Yotei, but I think I almost might be a little bit more excited about Resident Evil, mainly because we've been hearing that, yeah, Leon is in this game. And Leon is like one of the main protagonists, and Capcom is saving that reveal. So I don't know if maybe tomorrow is the day that they reveal it, or if they're going to save it for later on. But yeah, man, I love the way they've been, the way Capcom's been handling their announcements, where it's like, we're going to reveal the game, it's going to release in like 6-7 months, and pretty much we're just going to have a 6-month marketing cycle. Like every month, there's going to be some new information. Sony's been kind of doing that as well, and I really do appreciate that type of marketing cycle. Corey says our time is now. A new Castlevania, maybe? Well, we've been hearing, I think, from VGC for like multiple years now that a new Castlevania game has been in development for some time at Konami internally. So that could show up at any time. Maybe that could be like a end of the year announcement. Omen, you're saying Resident Evil is your all-time favorite franchise. Capcom is such a great company. They treated me like a king when I was there. Just made me an even bigger fan. That is awesome, dude. Yeah, Resident Evil it's one of my all-time favorite series as well. I don't know if I could say it's my all-time favorite. I would have to probably give that to Metal Gear Solid. Well, I could say I would give that to Metal Gear Solid, but Resident Evil is, I mean, that has to be top 3, top 5, certainly. Like guaranteed top 5, could be top 3 if I had to sit down and really think about it, and like list everything out. But I've been playing Resident Evil since I started gaming. Some of my earliest memories are trying to force myself to play Resident Evil 1 and 2. Specifically, I remember 2 on the PS1, and just having a hard time because I was scared shitless, basically. I remember playing Resident Evil 3 with my cousin, and I had to have him play it. But also with Mrs. MBG, the first game we actually like sat down and played together. We weren't like dating yet, but it was like right before we started dating, was Resident Evil 2. And so, yeah, I've always been a huge fan of the Resident Evil franchise. I'm going to have to, hold on, shut my window. There's landscapers outside. Indeed, more MBG lure. We have Michael Lynch with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Michael. He says, I want our Galaga that is half 3D and half 2D that utilizes the power of the PS5. You know, it's interesting. I feel like the studio that could end up maybe doing something similar to that. I mean, I don't know. It, for some reason, you saying that made me think of that game that Housemarque made. It was like a PS4 launch title. I don't know if it's necessarily, you know, the same. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, what is the name of that game? I'm trying to. Is Resogun the game I'm thinking of? I'm pretty sure it's Resogun. I was just thinking, like, if there's any studio that Sony owns that could, like, take full advantage of the PS5 and create something in that vein, Michael, it would have to be Housemarque. But they're working on Saros. Omen, you're saying you played some Pragmata as well. Yeah, how was that? You're saying it surprised you. Yeah, the Pragmata gameplay is a lot different than I expected it to be, where it's like doing puzzles while doing combat, and I'm like, whoa. But Michael, with your super chat, man, yeah, we'll see if that ends up happening. I feel like the closest thing we would, I don't know, Saros is obviously not going to be like that, but you could tell. You could tell there's like some DNA there with the type of games that Housemarque has made. Is Returnal going to Xbox? I don't believe so. That seems very random. I haven't heard anything. Lost Isley says they're getting Battlefield 6 withdrawal. People have been saying it is. Well, it depends who's saying. Dude, I've been very careful about who I'm listening to or like anything I come across. Even today, for example, today I saw a quote that was supposedly from Cory Barlog where he was talking about the next game they're making. And it seemed legitimate. Game Informer reported it. I saw people quoting it just to find out that it was totally made up. It was a fake Cory Barlog account on Facebook, which is annoying. But it's like, I'm trying to be very careful because these days, you know, people are just making things up left and right. And I think it happens a little bit more when the news cycle is a little bit slower, which makes sense. But yeah, apparently Cory Barlog never said that. And it's interesting because when I read that quote, I was like, that doesn't sound like something he would say. Mag leaks Returnal is in negotiations for an Xbox port, according to him. Mag. He sounds, I think he's somewhat known, I think. Returnal going to Xbox would be kind of shocking, in a sense. Mainly just because you wouldn't think, like if Sony was going to bring any single player games to Xbox, you wouldn't think Returnal would be the one. You would think something like Spider-Man. But, I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can figure is Saros is coming up, you know? Returnal is an amazing game, and Saros is coming up, and we are going to be seeing Saros gameplay. I mean, maybe they just want to try to get, if they were to do something like that, I could see it as a play to try to get Xbox players interested in Saros. Maybe, I'm not sure. But it would be kind of random, I would say. Yeah, that's definitely not a game that when I imagine titles that Sony would consider bringing to Xbox, I Returnal's not at the top of my mind. But maybe it does make sense. I don't know. See, that's what's interesting, Omen. You're saying Xbox is on its last legs. It's true, and yet Sony's like, here's Helldivers. We're going to help you out. We got to keep you afloat. Who would have thought Sony was the one? Didn't see that one coming. MBG, do you expect Sony to announce Spider-Man 1 and 2 to come to the Switch 2 at Gamescom? Maybe the Game Awards? Not necessarily. I mean, I'm at a point with Sony where they could announce anything, going anywhere, at any point. If there's one thing I've learned is to expect the unexpected. I will give you this one prediction of mine, although I don't even know that I could call it a prediction, but it's something that we might want to keep in mind when we're watching the show tomorrow. That 2.5D side-scrolling God of War game, that's been rumored for a while now. Apparently, that game is real, and it is coming next year. And it was supposed to get announced earlier this year. Rumor has it that it was delayed so they could add voice acting. Maybe that could be a little bit of a surprise reveal. Now, I'm not saying I expect it, nor do we have any rumors of that happening. That's just me kind of throwing something out there. Am I late for the showcase news? Well, we're still kind of talking about it. Jeff Grubb confirms that Sony is doing a state of play or what he says maybe a showcase at the end of September. So we now have a time frame of when to expect it. And I could see them doing a showcase. When you think about it, Sony does have quite a bit that they could reveal, right? They have that 2.5D God of War game. They have Saros gameplay that they're supposed to be showing off. They have the new Santa Monica game, that Corey Barlog's new game that hasn't been revealed yet. They could show more Intergalactic. They could show Wolverine. They could show Media Molecules game, right? They have a myriad of live service titles, and I know people aren't necessarily excited for that, but they have a myriad of live service titles that could be announced, like the Horizon multiplayer or Dark Outlaw Games, Jason Blundell studio, LFG Games, which is basically Bungie developers working on Project Gummy Bears. I mean, we have to see Fair Games at some point. We need an update on Marathon. So the reality is, I think Sony has probably more than enough to justify a showcase. Now, whether or not it will be the showcase of our dreams and a showcase that we're like, oh my God, this is it, I'm not sure. I'm still going to be a little bit nervous if they do a showcase, just because the last one they did was kind of a letdown. There's also the rumor of the Venom game, by the way. Venom is apparently real. Last we heard, Venom is real, and it's coming next year. There's also Marvel Tokon roster reveal. They could do something like that. So, you know, I'm not trying to like get people hyped up necessarily. I'm just basically putting a bunch of things out there that should let you know that, you know, if Sony wanted to do a showcase, they definitely could. They have more than enough. We also don't know what Sony Bend or Bluepoint Games. We know that their games were canceled, I think late last year, but we don't know what they've been working on since then. It's possible that Sony could have them reveal their games early, you know, to kind of rejuvenate some confidence or interest in those studios. But yeah, there's quite a bit that Sony could reveal. Now, on the other side of that, like if they wanted to do a state of play, I actually think that could be problematic. And the reason is not because it would be bad or anything like that. The reason why I think a state of play would be problematic is because if you think about everything I just listed, I mean, Sony's got to start showing some of this stuff, right? They have to start talking about some of this stuff. So I feel like if they do a state of play, it's going to call into question, like, where is all this stuff? And when are you going to show it? You know what I mean? So they're, again, not saying bank on a showcase. I'm just saying there's more evidence than there would be, you know, most other times to indicate that it might be showcase time. And we have Omen86 with the super chat. Thank you for that, buddy. He says, if I were Sony, I would fuel the fire by saying, if Xbox is still a thing in 3 years, and that's a big if, perhaps we might port Spider-Man. Maybe. Well, See, here's what I don't understand, Omen. Like, and I'm trying to understand it. And to be fair, Sony isn't really being super transparent about it. But like what you just said, right? 3 years from now, Sony won't have to port anything in 3 years. You know why? Because the next device, the next box that's being developed by Microsoft and will be released by that time will have Steam on it. So anybody who wants to buy that, you know, any hardcore Xbox player that's still playing on the Xbox console, if they upgrade to that Xbox PC thing, whatever it's going to be called, Xbox Prime or whatever, they will be able to play Spider-Man through Steam on that hybrid PC with an Xbox logo on it. This is why I find it very interesting that Sony is choosing now to port something like Helldivers, and if that means they're going to port anything more, because I don't know, man. There's almost a part of me that's like, does Sony want to keep the Xbox store around? Like, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. I don't want to overthink it. It could just be that no, they want more. They want more live service, you know, numbers. They want more people playing their live service game. That makes the most sense. But if I'm looking a little bit deeper, it's just like, well, Sony knows that the next box for Microsoft is going to be Windows-based and will have Steam. And yeah, that means anybody who buys that, they're going to be able to play The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. They're going to be able to play God of War and God of War Ragnarok. They're going to be able to play Returnal. They're going to be able to play Spider-Man. So I almost wonder if Sony's just like, bro, let's just try to get these sales now. You know? Like, why wait? Let's just get them now. I don't know. It seems a bit strange if they take that approach, because it's like, well, why now? Is it because Sony just looks at it as, well, we're not worried anymore? They're done. You know, I don't know. Weird times, though. Certainly weird times. I mean, people keep saying the full slate, and it's like, well, I mean, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, just because it's like, what? Why would Sony port the, like, if Sony were to do the full slate thing, at that point you're like, well, Sony, you're like single-handedly trying to save Xbox here. But yeah, no, I think that realistically Sony's going to still try to I think Sony's going to try to continue to do what they've been doing, which is, if you think about it, just trying to get the best of all worlds. I think Sony's viewing it as like, let's get extra sales on PC. Hell, let's get some extra sales on Xbox and maybe Switch too. But let's also try to produce some reasons. Some for people to consider buying a PS5, you know? And when you look at the way things are aligned right now, well, Death Stranding is a reason to buy the PS5. I don't know that many people are buying a PS5 for Death Stranding, but Ghost of Yotei is a pretty big reason for people to buy a PS5. And to the person that says, I don't want to buy a PS5 for Ghost of Yotei because I know if I just wait, I'll get it on PC and maybe somewhere else. And if that's the case, then it's like, all right, well, I think Sony's okay not getting your sale then. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you don't want to be here. And I feel like Sony's just kind of at a point where it's like, we're not trying to like strong arm everybody anymore. Now, granted, Microsoft, they did the same thing, but they really were just like, we're not even gonna ask anymore. Which, like, to me, that's the biggest difference. Is they're just like, we're not even gonna ask you to come here anymore. We just please go wherever you want. Just buy our game, bro. Like, we do not care. I don't think Sony's at that point yet. I think Sony's still, they're gonna ask, hey, do you want to come to PlayStation? Do you want to buy our console? Do you want to subscribe to, to PS Plus and all that stuff? Do you want to buy games on the PlayStation Store? I think Sony's still asking that question. If Sony ever gets to the point where they're no longer asking, I think that's going to be a couple years, not more than a couple years from now. I think that's going to be, that to me seems like something that maybe would have to occur in the middle or towards the end of next generation if things don't go well. But that's just my speculation on the matter, you know? Do I think that, well, yeah, somebody asked me that earlier. Do I think Spider-Man, the original Spider-Man, could ever go to the Switch 2? It's possible. Yeah, I mean, I will reiterate what I've told everybody numerous times, which is don't assume to know what Sony's going to do or what they're not going to do. I can speculate as much as I want, but the reality is nobody knows what their plans are. You have people saying full slate. You have people saying it's only going to be this, this, and that. Neither of them know. Nobody knows. Only Sony knows. Even people within Sony probably don't even know yet. It seems pretty clear to me that they're just trying to figure this out as they go. The real question is, what about Astrobot? Astrobot's an interesting one. I mean, I think Astrobot would clearly do very well on Switch, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. Astrobot, if they want more sales, that's the thing. If they really want more sales of that game, they could do whatever they want with it, right? They could put it on Switch. They could put it on PC. But I feel like, I don't know. It's at the same time, like Astro's Playroom was made to literally sell you the PS5. You get what I'm saying? And that's what makes it kind of interesting where it's like, huh. You know, you were using this character in this universe to sell the PS5 and what it can do. It'd be an interesting one. And we have Will Hancock with a $2 super chat saying PS Plus on Xbox, the only way I see Spider-Man on it. Oh man, that would be... Yeah, I don't know. That sounds complicated. I'm not sure that Microsoft would... That's an interesting question. Would Microsoft allow PlayStation Plus on the Xbox ecosystem? Well, hold on. Microsoft said that they're going to allow multiple storefronts, and they already allow different subscription services. So I don't know, man. That's actually I don't know that it's likely. Like I don't know that I'm banking on that happening or expecting it, but it is interesting to think that that could be a thing. You know, I feel like it's kind of it would be, I wouldn't know what to make of it, but yeah, that would be one way, I guess one possibility. Mag mentioned Returnal did very poorly on PC and PlayStation. I know Returnal was not a big seller. I think Returnal struggled to even get to 1 million units sold, which is very unfortunate because Returnal is an incredible game. It certainly deserves more sales. I mean, I'll be honest with you, man. Like, here's what would be surprising to me about Returnal being announced for Xbox. It wouldn't be the fact that it's announced for Xbox, like, oh my God, it's a single player game on Xbox. It would be the fact that, like, why would you announce it? Like, it's just the implication that Sony would prioritize the Xbox storefront over the Switch 2. That to me is what would be surprising. Now, there is the whole conversation of maybe they couldn't get it running on the Switch 2, but if it's on PC, you could probably play it at pretty low settings. They could probably do a Switch 2 port. And that's what would surprise me. Now, maybe do both. Maybe just, I mean, hell, maybe just make Returnal full multi-platform, right? At this point, if you're going in that direction. But that's just what's weird to me is it's like, if Sony were to do something like that, it would basically invalidate everything we've assumed about the Xbox platform. Sony would be the one to invalidate it. And that would be such a crazy turn of events. Because we're over here being like, well, you know, Xbox players don't really buy games like that. Like if your game did poorly on PlayStation and PC, that game's not going to do well on Xbox. That's the basic logic, right? That's our assumption, but it's based on, sales data and history. So if Sony were to come out and be like, okay, so this single player game here didn't do too great on PlayStation 5 and it really didn't do well on PC, let's see how it does on Xbox. And it's like, I don't have a problem with it because it's like, whatever, I guess. But like, what is the expected outcome here? You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is what kind of, now if they come out and they're like, we're bringing Returnal to Xbox and to Switch 2, that makes sense to me. Because that's just like, we're going to put Returnal everywhere and try to maximize sales across the board. That would make more logical sense to me than them just making an Xbox port, because it's like the Switch 2 is selling like crazy, and the next year is probably going to, I don't know, probably be on the same pace as the Switch 1. And Switch 2 players are conditioned to buy games at full price. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe, and just to play devil's advocate here and try to see the other side of it, maybe there's a chance that Sony just looks at the novelty factor of it. Where it's like, maybe any game we choose to port to Xbox will be guaranteed to sell well, just because it's like, look at this, a PlayStation game on Xbox. That to me is incredibly short-sighted, and frankly, like, that would be a foolish reason to do something like that. But it's possible. I mean, I don't know how the minds of these executives work. I don't know how they're operating. I don't know what they're looking. The only other logical thing I could assume is that if Returnal went to Xbox, or if Returnal was announced for Switch 2 and Xbox, the only thing that makes logical sense to me is we want to get people excited for Soros. So we want to basically give this game to more people. So you'll pay attention to Soros. That's the only other thing that makes sense to me. But yeah, I mean, it's clear, like, that's just a rumor, right? Coming from, who'd you say it was? Mag. I don't know if he's going to be correct in that or not, but it'll be interesting, certainly. It'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. Sony would benefit from going day and date with PC. If PlayStation goes multi-plat, we're not going to hear the end of it. Well, no, that will be the end of it. If PlayStation, like, the moment a single-player game goes multi-platform, to a lot of people, it's already over. You know what I'm saying? But for the people who are still left, kind of being like, full slate, this and that, I understand why, but it's like, if a single-player PlayStation game goes multi-platform, then that's the end of it. Then yeah, there's, exclusivity is done. And, I will have the same view of it that I did with Sony embracing PC, where it's like, well, we can still call, it's like, oh, well, Death Stranding is a PS5 exclusive because it's not on PC. And it's like, yeah, that is technically true, but I don't really view it that way. I mean, if I'm just viewing it for what it is a timed exclusive, but everybody knows it's going to go to PC, you know what I'm saying? And that's fine. And if that's how Sony wants to operate going forward, that's fine. But the whole conversation of like exclusivity in the terms that in the way we used to view it, that will be dead and buried, except if you're on Nintendo. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. Oh, and you think it's not going to happen? We have New Soul 9. He says, MBG, the most logical reason why PlayStation doesn't wait for Xbox PC to drop next year is because of the price. Once Sony found out about the pricing, they probably came to the conclusion the majority of those Xbox players are going to stay on the Series consoles. That's actually a great point, New Soul. I didn't think about that. That's actually probably the most compelling reason I've heard so far. Because yeah, we have been talking extensively about this next Xbox and how it's apparently going to be very expensive. It's going to be very, very powerful, but you're going to pay for that power. And so yeah, you could kind of see how it's like, well, at that point, Sony probably is just going to view it the same way they view high-end PCs. You know what I mean? Um, and so if you have, I mean, yeah, if you have like right now, like 20 million people still turning on their Xboxes, they're not going to PlayStation. They didn't go to PC. Even after Microsoft went multi-platform, they're still hanging around there. Sony could have the view, they could have that exact view. Like, yeah, we're not worried about the next Xbox because it's going to be such a niche product. You know, most people, it's just going to be a high-end PC. That's how Sony's going to view it, as a high-end PC. But the series consoles, actually, that's really interesting to think about. That Sony might just view this might be Sony's way of basically confirming that there is no more console from Microsoft after the series consoles. Because if Sony internally, like from a corporate view, a competitive standpoint, they find out, sir, this we came across some new intel or whatever. Like, here's exactly, Mark Cerny told us, because he's working with AMD and he heard it through AMD. Here's what the next Xbox is going to be. Here's the OS it's going to use. Here's how much it's going to be. Sony has all that info because they have an ear to the ground, I guess, when it comes to AMD, and AMD is the one working on this stuff. Sony may look at that internally and be like, that's not a console. That's a PC. And if that's how Sony sees it, then that means they're looking at the Series X and S as like, well, that's the last console from our competitor. They're not making any more after this. And this might actually just be, this is just speculation. And I'm not, this isn't like, there's no console warring here because it's just the console wars are done. But it's just like they may be viewing it as, well, this is as good as it's going to get for the final set of consoles, home consoles from Microsoft, our competitor, what was once our competitor. We may as well just see what we can get from it before it totally, because let's face it, do we see growth occurring when it comes to the Xbox storefront and ecosystem? I don't think anybody sees growth there. I don't think even Microsoft sees growth there. I think it's about retaining maybe who's left, but understanding that once the next generation rolls around, they're still going to lose a lot of people, It's all just speculation, but it's interesting to speculate, and it's interesting to think about because these definitely are unprecedented times with these companies and these brands. We also have New Soul 9 using his milestone chat. He's been a member for 5 months. Thank you for that, New Soul, saying, anybody had cereal dip in vanilla yogurt? Talk about wanting to change the subject. I'm just kidding. This is what New Soul does. He always has to end it by asking if we've ever consumed a specific food. Ansel says, isn't there a cereal like that? A Steam box could honestly do a ton of damage to Sony. It depends, I would say. I mean, I feel like any console could theoretically do a ton of damage to Sony, right? Any box could theoretically do a ton of damage to Sony, but to me, it's about just trying to be realistic and like, what would it require for any brand to just suddenly significantly penetrate the console market? I know it's a crazy sentence, but think about it. Like, what would it require? It would require a lot. Like, I just came across now I know it's Reddit, but I came across a Reddit thread just yesterday that had a lot of engagement of a person who's like, I tried building a PC like 3 times and just decided I'm just going to stick to console. And they were basically wrote a book essentially about like why. And it was interesting because I just see all these people replying being like, yeah, pretty much same here. Or just explaining why they still play on console. And it's just it's anecdotal, of course, and it's confined to a Reddit post, but when you zoom out and you look at the sales of the PlayStation console or just consoles in general, you realize like this market is real. It's a real market that exists, and it may not be growing, but it's also not necessarily shrinking at the rate that some people would have you think. There's over 100 million people easily, probably over like 180 million in total. 180 million people where they want a game and they want the convenience of a console. And Sony, they are at the forefront of that, man, alongside Nintendo. Nintendo taking a slightly different approach with the hybrid. In order for a competitor to rise up and just suddenly take on Sony in the home console space, it would have to be you would have to see a company basically say, F it, we're going all in, and we don't have any real reason to do so. Is that going to be Steam? No. Are they going to produce a console-like device? Probably. But do you think they're going to try to take on Sony? No, because they don't care. Like Steam, the Valve would produce a Steam console just because they're like, this is cool. We're doing it too. Go check it out. Like they're very chill like that. Valve isn't like hyper competitive. They're just doing their own thing. Microsoft is clearly not doing it either. They were the ones who tried, and they're like, this is not working the way we want it to. So you think, okay, well, Amazon, Apple, Meta, I don't think so. No way. That's not going to happen. So, it's not to say that Sony is like untouchable. It's not like that. It's just that there have been multiple decades of opportunity for somebody to take Sony down, whether that be Nintendo or Microsoft. And Microsoft got damn close with the 360. They were the closest one. There's been multiple decades for somebody to come in and take Sony down in this market, and nobody has yet. And keep in mind, that was when there was growth. That was when there was prospective growth. Now there's no prospective growth. Now there's actually assumptions that it's going to shrink slowly over time. So when you think about that, it's like, who's going to look at that and say, now's the time? And this is why Sony's probably comfortable doing what they're doing. Truthfully, this is probably why Sony, they're not resting on their laurels. Some people think they are, but the reality is they're just like, we don't really see a threat near us. Like, at all. Like, there's no threat in the vicinity. Doesn't mean they're just chilling doing nothing, but it just means that, like, all right, well, maybe we can start to put more games in more places and see what happens. Who's coming around the corner and about to knock us off the 100 million sold hill for console? I don't think anybody is. That's not arrogance. That's just understanding the market reality, And we have Lux with a super chat saying you read that in the Reddit console Reddit thread. No, I read it. It was on the PS5 subreddit. Yeah, no, there was a post in the PS5 subreddit of somebody being like, I tried building a PC like 3 times. And they're like, I hate this. I'm just going to stick with console. Again, I understand it's a small, it's a small example. But I just think sometimes when you read what people type on the internet in certain places, or if you listen to certain YouTubers, they would have you think that like everybody's gaming on PC, and it's like, that's not true. There are a lot of PC gamers. Like, you could even say the majority might even be PC gamers. But the PC is so ubiquitous that it's like, yeah, pretty much if you buy a PC for a reason other than gaming, there's a decent chance that PC can still game. You know what I mean? And somebody might try it. Why not? People who are buying consoles are doing so for one reason and one reason only. And that's why I think it's important to understand that 100 million people buying a specific piece of hardware to do one specific thing is quite significant. It's always been significant. And as long as the numbers stay, relatively high, it will always be significant. And these things can coexist. They have coexisted and they will continue to coexist. We have Omen86 with another super chat, and he says, in Japan, I got wasted by Strong Zero. The hype/rumors are true. It's like lemonade with 9% alcohol. Drunk before you even know it. God, I love Japan. Well, Omen, it sounds like you had a really good time, bro. Sounds like you had a really good time. Omen, entering Capcom headquarters, wasted. I can't wait to play that Resident Evil 9. Leon's going to be there, right? And he just falls flat on his face. We also have Dwayne Johnson, a member for 14 months, using his milestone chat saying, John, thanks for the content you put out and gameplay streams. I appreciate it. How's Mrs. MBG and the family? How long is tonight's show? Well, important note here. The show is not tonight, actually. It's tomorrow. It's tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. So tomorrow at this time, we'll be doing a countdown for another hour to the show. But Gamescom is seemingly going to be about 2 hours long. So it's going to be probably it's a Jeff Keighley show. He's the one that helps put it together and host it. So it's going to be pretty long. And I'm glad you appreciate the content, man. Thank you for being a supporting member and a part of the community. Mrs. MBG is doing well. She's hanging in there. Family's doing well in general. So appreciate you asking, man. And I hope you and your family are doing good as well, Dwayne. What would go well with this rice dish? Crown it with more rice. I've never been to Japan. I don't think I'll ever go to Japan. I'm too intimidated to go to Japan. I'm definitely going to mess things up accidentally. I'm just going to be that tourist that's get this guy out of here. You don't belong here, buddy. That would definitely be me. All right, let's see here. Yeah, MacTube, that's not a real quote. Yeah, you're saying, MBG, did you see the article from Cory Barlog saying he's finally ready to reveal what he's been working on? He said it's a new IP. That's been confirmed to be fake. Now, I know it was reported by Game Informer, but they seemingly got bamboozled. Yeah, that was a fake Facebook account. A fake Cory Barlog Facebook account. He's going to say Valhalla. Yeah, we've been talking about that, Michael. Jeff Grubb confirmed that a PlayStation showcase or state of play is happening at the end of September. Who's John? I'm John. My name is John. My name is John. And we have Corey the Legend Landiga coming in, dropping 5 membership gifts for you guys. Corey is kicking it off today. The other Corey Barlog, apparently has been weirdly quiet.
I'm no hero. Never was. Never will be.
Dude, Boss literally heard that soundbite and immediately came over. Come on, Boss. He's got a little scratch on his nose, too. I don't know where that came from. We got punished Boss right now, bro. And Omen86 comes in and drops another 5 membership gifts for you guys. Omen says, Corey kicks it off. I have to keep the member train rolling. And just like that, Corey and Omen bring us up to 10 members on the day. Guys, now's your chance. Now's your chance to get the train going. I don't think Leia did it. No, I think he did it to himself. And Hellbound 1981, another legend. Another legend coming in, dropping 5 membership gifts. We got multiple 5 bombs coming in. And then Michael Wernath. Michael Fly Eagles Fly Wernath. You like that one? Is the stream down? Oh, I hope not. I hope not. Not during a member train. So Hellbound drops 5. Then Michael drops 5. And just like that, we are at 20. 20 memberships. We're 5 away from a goal. It says we're buffering. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. Are we good now? No. What is a gifted membership? It's not buffering. We're good. Okay. And Ray comes in. Ray, I got to give Ray a nickname. Ray, what do you want your nickname to be, bro? Something I could say before or after? Because I just call you Ray. Are you Ray? No, I don't know. Does that sound right? But he comes in and he drops 5. Metal Gear Ray. Hold on. It says it's buffering. Hold on. God damn it. Why is it got to pull this shit when we got a member train going, dude? Listen, guys, anybody, if it's buffering for you or chat, you can tell them in the chat to refresh. Metal Gear Ray, that's a good one. Petrov is saying his stream is dead. Hellbound saying it's buffering for him. We got to feed the beast. We got to tell everybody. Refresh. Refresh. Shadowlink says it's all good here. Corey says he had to refresh. Boss has to refresh. Do you guys see the scratch on his nose? You see that? We got punished Boss today, bro. I don't think Luna did it to him. I'm not sure because he was just chilling last night with me and I didn't see him get up and I just came back and he had this scratch on his nose. I think he did it to himself. Refresh did not help. Bro, fix your internet. Now other people are saying it's buffering. God damn it. Well, I do apologize. I would do something about it if I could. I'll just have to hope that it sorts itself out. Okay. Hold on. Hold on, boss. I think we're good now. We should be good now. It's on my end. It says we have an excellent connection. Is that a Herman Miller? Hell no, it's not. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. On my end, everything's fine, and I'm seeing other people say it's good for them. I'm still seeing some people saying, no, it's buffering. So, I guess just keep refreshing, guys. Keep refreshing. Or... Okay. Everybody's saying it's good. All right. Time to feed the beast. I owe you guys a couple of sound bites.
We would rather strive to achieve the impossible while remaining true to ourselves.
There's all the sound bites. All the sound bites for a crazy member train. Crazy member train. Yeah. Metal Gear Ray. I like that one, dude. So we got... Although I don't have a nickname for Omen, though. Metal Gear Ray. Michael Fly Eagles Fly Werneth. Although I haven't given Hellbound a proper nickname either. I just call Hellbound the Legend as well. Corey the Legend Landiga, then Hellbound the Legend. So they're kind of sharing that. They've been cool with that, though. You know? What should omens be? The entirety of YouTube is down? Uh-oh. Well, that's not good. The ultimate omen. I hope that's not true. That the entirety of YouTube is down? Not while I'm streaming. Come on, bro. Now I'm going to check. I'm not seeing anything. I think we're good. I think we're good. Omen orangutan. Omen, how's that sound for you? How about Omen Ryan? Omen Ryan for Jim Ryan. The Omenator. MBG, YouTube is down, but yet we're on YouTube. Make that make sense. We're down while we're on the inside while it's down. Nobody else can get in. I'm seeing everybody give me suggestions for Omen's nickname, but Omen hasn't said it. The last thing he said is that YouTube is down. Maybe it is down for him. Bermuda is a pretty cool place. Pink sand, mostly clear water. We have Figuratively Literal, a longtime member for 19 months. Thank you for that support. Figuratively Literal. You're saying here, can confirm that Japan is dope. Tokyo is the coolest place I've ever been. There's so much to do. It's overwhelming, not to mention the incredible food. I've heard nothing but good things. Like really good things. But yeah, man, I don't really travel that much. I actually really don't travel at all, truthfully. But if I were to, I don't know that Japan is a place. It would be cool to go there, but I definitely would be nervous because I know I would just be so afraid that I'm going to be like that American, you know, that's like, oh, brother, you know, go home, go back to America. What are you doing over here? You're disrespecting us and you don't even know it. Hellbound is saying YouTube is down, cannot open other streams. So no joke, it seems like something is going on with YouTube. If you were already in here, you might be okay. Also, it says it glitched out a little bit, and on my chat screen it says Ray dropped 2 5 bombs, but Ray, just to confirm, you only dropped 1, right? I just want to make sure I didn't miss it and not give you credit for that. Yeah, I think it was only 1 because it says we're at 25. I don't know. I think, yeah, something, it's getting, yeah, you say you dropped 5. Something's definitely going wrong with YouTube because that's weird. There's like a duplicate. Looks like you're stuck with me. All going according to plan. MBG, I don't know if you'll read this, but continue your stream. It's just YouTube servers. They're bugging out at the moment. It's still down for me. We did hit the goal. We did. Yeah, we hit 25. We do have a direct donation from Richrod. So we're going to need 5 more. We're going to need that Richrod tax in full effect. 5 more memberships on behalf of Richrod because he's going to make me read something unholy. He says, Dolt, you're such an ugly POS. Just because Jizz cheated on you with Phil S. doesn't mean you can come at MB Gangstas. Take your meat out of the Series S. Creep. Oh, and we wonder why YouTube servers are down. I'm now typing to some people in the chat because the stream still actually isn't up for them yet. I had to reassure Hellbound that boss got his treats. Shadowlink says, also, I've now been to Bermuda and the Bahamas. First time I've ever traveled. And it's nice seeing other places, especially if they're different. Maybe that'll be me one day, Shadowlink. Yeah, I've never really traveled anywhere. I mean, I've went, I think, to like a couple different states, but not for like, not for the sake of traveling and like sightseeing and whatnot and visiting places. It says stream starting soon now. There's no way. This would explain why Omen hasn't been answering anything he hasn't been responding. Okay, Hellbound says it's back. Okay. Well, oh, hold on. Apparently Omen did answer me. Omen says he wants to be Sony Omi. Wait, what? Bro has to pick the most cursed nickname. Sony Omi. Oh, bro. Well, what Omen wants, Omen gets. I have this strange feeling that MEG hugs his Xbox Series X tightly when he isn't watching, or when we aren't watching. Hiroki Omen. Omen to Toki. There we go. All right. Well, generally speaking, it seems that whatever went wrong with YouTube servers is sorting itself out and is mostly fixed. It's just good to know it wasn't on my end for once, which would explain why it told me the entire time people were saying it was down. I had an excellent connection. So, but I'm feeling pretty excited, guys. I don't know. I'm feeling pretty excited. I've enjoyed the state of plays that Sony has been, producing the past, I would say, year and a half or so. So if they do another state of play, I'll be excited for it. MBG, any thoughts on my previous chat? I'm not sure if you're talking about a super chat, Lux, or a regular chat. Let me double check. Lux, the last chat I have from you is when you said you read that in the Reddit console thread. If you said something else in the chat, I don't think it came up. Let me see. Oh, you're saying, MBG, did you see YouTube took down a video about the Roblox situation? It had tons of views. They're trying to cover it up too, since Roblox vids bring in the views and the money on YouTube. I'm not going to read that last part. I didn't see that, Lux. I've been somewhat following the Roblox situation, and it seems pretty bad. Not going to lie. It seems really bad. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen over there. The idea that YouTube, there's some weird stuff going on, man. There's some really weird stuff going on where, like, it seems like a lot of people are trying to expose the weirdness and just the flat out, horrible stuff that's going on. And anybody who's trying to do that seems to be, I don't want to become like conspiratorial or anything, but it does seem like, it seems like people are like trying to point out like, this is like really bad. And the people who are doing that, it's like they're kind of being, shoved to the side or whatever. Or, apparently like there were people who were doing acts, like vigilante acts or whatever in Roblox, exposing these people. And like they were banned or something. And I think that's what brought so much attention to the Roblox situation, because it's like, why would you ban those people? Like, why would you punish the people who were trying to expose, you know, the wrongdoings that are happening. Oh, yeah, that would explain it. I think Petrov is still having a problem with the stream. We have another Richrod. Oh, God. Another direct donation from Richrod. So, that's Richrod. I think at this point you're like, 10 memberships? 2 donations, 10 memberships in the whole. He says, real reason Microsoft ditched console is because Colt impregnated so many Xboxes, they're rebelling and demand to be hybrid human now since Colt violated them. My God. Jesus, Richrod. Like, Richrod went from being violent, and I told him not to be violent, to just being raunchy and nasty. There was that one time he was religious, though. Ray, you're saying Roblox has been like that for years. They really need to do something about it. Yeah. Richrod says, come on, let's get those 10 memberships. No, Dark Cloud. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why Richrod, why do you keep tagging people when you say that you sent a direct? Dark Cloud, I know you didn't send a direct. Oh, that's what. Okay, so he's basically saying things on your behalf now. On behalf of some people in the chat. Wow. All right, Richrod. Well, okay. Bro, what if Project Gummy Bears gets shown by Sony tomorrow? Well, oh man, I'll be honest, like, I would prefer Sony reveal one of their live service games at an event like tomorrow's opening night live. I would prefer that, because if there's going to be backlash, I don't know. I just feel like there's a higher chance of backlash and people being very underwhelmed and uninterested in some of these live service games. And if Sony wants to save those reveals for their own shows, like a state of play or possibly a showcase, I just feel like, I don't know, man, if you drop a Project Gummy Bears reveal in the middle of opening night live and it doesn't look good and people are like, what the hell was that? There's really going to be, it's like no harm, no foul, right? Because people are going to be too focused on all the other stuff that was there. And more importantly, like, you're not going to be able to basically say, like, that was a bad PlayStation show. You'll just be able to say that was like a bad announcement at a show that wasn't a PlayStation show. So, when you're saying, geez, YouTube's really broken today. Yeah, something seems to be going wrong behind the scenes with YouTube. You think Jason Blundell's game will be a true Call of Duty killer? I don't know about that. I don't know what to expect about Jason Blundell's game. Or with it, I should say, because we just know that Jason Blundell, he's hugely responsible for what Call of Duty Zombies ended up becoming in a good way. Like, people loved. I don't know how people feel about Call of Duty Zombies now, but it was huge for a long time. No, he deserves the respect, Rich. He does. He's a very talented developer, and he has like a cult following, man. Like, pretty much all the big Zombies YouTubers, and they're huge. Like, I mean, people know Jason Blundell, so it was a big get for Sony to secure him. It's just I have no idea what. I just have no idea what what I'm trying to say is, I don't know how similar or different this new game is that they're developing is going to be to Call of Duty or Zombies. I think it would be safe to assume there's going to be some level of similarity. But then again, one of the reasons Jason Blundell probably left Treyarch and left Activision was because he probably got tired of working on Call of Duty Zombies and wanted to do something different. So, but yeah, that's one of the live service games I'm more interested in seeing, and I hope it's not bad. I'm rooting for it, of course, but always taking it with a pinch of salt, you know. Lux, you're saying unless Battlefield can put out yearly games, it'll drop off quick. It's hard to say. I mean, it is kind of crazy that Call of Duty still manages to be a yearly release game, like an annual game, that it just hasn't died down. That to me, it is like a sports title. The only other games that do that are sports titles, where every year there could be a new sports title and it sells the same. Call of Duty is like one of the only video games ever, I think, to achieve that and not be a sports title. Saying Call of Duty is basically Fortnite now. I am curious to see what direction they go in with Black Ops 7 with the cosmetics and the microtransactions and stuff, because, man, feels like the past couple years they really have gotten very nonsensical. And Battlefield is leaning into trying to be more grounded and realistic and pretty much saying, like, yeah, we're not going to have Nicki Minaj running around in this game. Shots fired, right? So it's like, I feel like at first that'll benefit it, but we do have to question how long will that last, you know? Oh, by the way, that Delta Force game just released today. The timing of that, this is like Temu Battlefield, essentially. Chinese Battlefield, I don't know. Has anybody tried it? I think it's free to play. I'm thinking about giving it a shot. You know, I did just play the Battlefield 6 beta, and I enjoyed it, and you know, Battlefield 6 isn't coming out till I think the second week of October. So now we have this Delta Force game that just released on console. Is it tomorrow? I thought it was today. Is it tomorrow? Yeah, Battlefield is apparently going to be more of a platform game. There was like some kind of report yesterday, and I don't know how true it was, where somebody at EA was saying they might want to annualize it years down the line. But it seems like Battlefield 6 is essentially going to be a platform. You were going to mention Delta Force. It's downloaded to my console. Hadn't had a chance to play it yet. Okay, yeah. And that comes with the campaign, right? The campaign I think I'm more interested in, because it's basically, you know, it's based on the Black Hawk Down movie that came out in 2001. I'm not sure what the modes are that are in this Delta Force game. I know that they have a Conquest-like mode. It's pretty much the equivalent of Battlefield's Conquest, where it's like large-scale vehicles and you capture points. Yeah, I might give it a shot. I'm going to be playing a lot of Death Stranding. That's like my priority, but the fact that Delta Force is free to play, I feel like, yeah, I have to at least try it. I played the original Delta Force games, the Black Hawk Down game on PS2. That was like one of my first multiplayer shooters. It's so garbage. Like, looking back at it, it's just not good. But yeah, one of the first games I played when I finally got internet connected to my PlayStation 2, dial-up internet, was Delta Force Black Hawk Down. And man, I got addicted to it. Me and my buddy, we just couldn't stop playing it. So it's weird to see, like, it's still around today in a sense. But yeah, you know, when I give it a shot, I'll let you know what I think of it. All right, so let me just go check to see if there have been any updates on the topic we were just talking about regarding the showcase. So somebody listed here, State of Play, January 31st, 2024. The Closer, Fizzant from Kojima Productions. State of Play, May 30th, 2024. The Closer, Astrobot from Team Asobi. State of play September 24th, 2024. The Closer, Ghost of Yote from Sucker Punch. State of play February 12th, 2025. The Closer, Saros from Housemarque. State of play June 4th, 2025. The Closer, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls from Arc System Works. So what will the Closer be for September 2025? It's interesting when you see it laid out like that. I'm gonna see if I can post this in my chat. That's very interesting when you see it laid out like that. Oh, it's too long. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the reasons I am leaning more towards Sony might be doing a state of play. Because if you look at that, I mean, they have a good pattern, right? Like, they've been following a really solid pattern, and it's been working out well for them. Halo's going to be the Closer, bro. What if Wolverine is the Closer? Yearly PlayStation Showcase Copium is back on the menu. Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, well, like I said earlier, Sony has a lot that they could show, but they have to be careful, because what I will say is that if Sony does actually opt into doing a showcase, if Sony says we want to do a showcase, then it's going to have to be a good one, because the last showcase they did was not very good. They did a showcase in May of 2023, and they kind of got laughed at, man. Spider-Man 2 was the Closer, and that was good, but it was definitely lacking. Uh-oh. Another direct from Richrod. Richrod, that's 3 direct donations, bro. We now 15 memberships. Richrod is in debt. 15 memberships, guys. Rich says, I want all Xbox hardware/software to die to the Xbox so that the Xbox content creators become homeless. Then we can walk by them and laugh. Now you can't feed. Rich, you do this on purpose. You do this on purpose, Rich. That's as far as I'll go. Oh, when you're saying the stream is broken? Rich says it wasn't even violent. Yeah, but I can't condone that, man. Listen, I can't condone violence, and I can't condone that second part or that last part of that chat. I can't, Rich. It's not nice. It's not nice. Xbox content creators have consequences. The consequences will be rendered. And Corey the Legend Landiga comes in and drops another 5 memberships for you guys. Corey's got you, Rich. I think you tagged him, too. You said that was supposed to be Corey. Corey, thank you so much, man. Hold on. What?
But that was some fancy shooting.
We're so close.
You're pretty good.
Metal Gear. It's almost here. It's real. It's happening. With Corey dropping another 5 membership gifts for you guys, that brings us to 30 members. So we are 20 away We're 20 away from hitting that 50. Yesterday, Silent Spartan came in, dropped 50 himself, instantly crushed it. Today, we're 20 away. Can we do it? No, I don't think that's why he did it, Rich. Corey would never say such a thing. Corey says it's for the boss. And actually, I don't know where Leia or Luna, I don't know where they're at right now. I thought Leia was in here. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'm trying to see if Leia or Luna can come in. And Omen 86 comes in and he drops. Wait. Sony Omi. Oh my God. There's got to be there's got to be another name, bro. That sounds so weird to say. But that's what he requested. Sony Omi. Jim Omen 86 Ryan. Sony Omi Totoki. He comes in, he drops a single membership gift for you guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that brings us to 31. Thank you, Corey and Omen, for keeping the member train going. Richrod's so desperate, bro. Chill, Rich. Chill. He says the stream is completely broken, but the chat gifting still works. Okay. Yeah, apparently Mrs. MBG just told me she was looking into it. It seems to be regional. So for most people, I think it's working. Oh, come on, Luna. Luna decided to join us. There you go. Oh, Leia's here too. Leia wasn't here this whole time. And we have Led on Thierry? I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. I'm just going to call him Led. Led 1856. I don't know how to say this name. But he comes in and he renews his membership. He joins. He hops on the member train. And just like that, actually brings us up to 32. I did want to type this in the chat. Isley, what? I wonder if they'll show the PlayStation 6 model next year and release it in 2027. No, I don't think so, Diego. I think when the PlayStation 6, the year it comes out, it'll come out November. It'll probably be revealed that June. That's usually how Sony does it. They'll probably stick to that. Dark Cloud, you're saying good, healthy competition is good for PlayStation, so Xbox and other platforms must survive. It's what's good for business. That's an interesting view of it. I think you're not wrong about that, you know? I do kind of see it as like Sony probably would like some level of competition because it, like you're saying, it is good. It can be good for business. But Robert says Fire Games dropping tomorrow. Glad I'm a premium member. Yeah, apparently there's that one game. I have to look up the name of it, but it's reviewing really well. It's a day one PlayStation Plus game. I need to figure out the name of it, though. Which game is it? Does anybody know the name of the game I'm talking about? I even saw that like Shuhei Yoshida was recommending it. If anyone guesses the PS6 price right, I'll buy you an Eagles jersey. That's what Michael Warren says. I'm guessing $600 US. That was Zombies that renewed his membership. And here's 5 more. Oh, yeah, for some reason it's showing your name differently. Was it Zombie Dragon? Yeah, I was trying to read the name and it wasn't, I was having a hard time. Led. Thank you. Sword of the Sea is the name of the game. Sword of the Sea. And yeah, let me know in the chat. I'm pretty sure it's Zombie Dragon, right? That's who this is? Because YouTube changed it, so now I see the other names, like your @ or whatever, and it doesn't line up. But either way, he comes in, he drops 5 more membership gifts for you guys. Thank you so much for that, bud. Yeah, Zombie Dragon, bro. Good to have you back, man. Thank you for renewing your membership, and thank you for dropping 5 more member gifts, showing incredible support. Really appreciate that, guys. We are still, we still have momentum with this member train, and with those 5 memberships, we're now at 37. So we're chipping away at it, guys. I think we'll be able to do it today. I think we can do it. I think we'll be able to hit that 50. You guys will make me do some reps. Wes off the top rope. Oh God, what do you do now? Oh, with the 5 bombs. Robert says my son is going nuts. Spider-Man PS5 version with all the DLC. Nice, Robert. Michael Werner says, what's my @? Let me see here, Michael. Your @ is it's just your name, dude. Michael Werneth. Michael Beast Werneth. Michael Fly Eagles Fly Werneth. Michael's Cowboys Suck Werneth. It could be whatever you want it to be, bro. You actually can change it, I'm pretty sure. Omen says, I'm sorry, MBG, but YouTube is really broken here. Good luck with the stream. See you next time. I feel bad. That sucks. That's really annoying, dude. That's a shame. Yeah, YouTube is screwing over some viewers today, man. No, for most people, YouTube seems to be fine, but there seems to be some kind of issue on YouTube's back end where it's like regional. Like some people, it's just totally broken. So you would assume it'll be fixed. You would assume it'll be fixed relatively soon. MBG, it's so easy to get a girl to go home with you over here. All you got to do is tell them you play PlayStation and they'll be more than happy to have your kid. You see, guys, this is why we have the reputation we have. Between Richrod and Digital Dude. Oh, my God. Yeah, man. I got that PlayStation game, you know? What's your secret? I play on PlayStation. All right. Ray, you did. Okay. Yeah. I wonder what's going on. Guys, by the way, if you haven't already, please take a moment and hit that like button. We are sitting at 116 likes. I think we could easily get that up to 125, and we'll do like a big push to get it to 150. It definitely helps the streams. I got to do a better job at telling people to like the streams. It helps with the algorithm and getting new people in here and, you know, just getting YouTube to push the stream out there. Yeah, wow. Yeah, Digital Dude. Absolutely, bro. So why do I get the feeling you go out in public with your PS5 Pro? You just carry it around with you at all times? Oh, man. And Wes just has to make it so much worse. Yeah, great chat today. Every day, it's great. Herman actually holds the DualSense correctly. The rest of us are doing it wrong. We have Joshua Reese with a super chat. He says, MBG, watch these films. Weapons, Bring Her Back, and Together. Weapons, I want to see. Weapons, I definitely want to see. I've been hearing really good things about that. Not familiar with the other films, though. Josh, thank you for that, buddy. Hanzo, that might be the craziest thing anybody's ever said on the channel. Dude, Hanzo just comes out of left field. This man says, I wear a skin suit of Mark Cerny to bed and my PlayStation covers over the duvet. Michael's like, this man is never getting over 101,000 subs with this chat audience. Yeah, bro, I got people in my chat letting me know that they're wearing a Mark Cerny skin suit. All's well. Everything is exactly as it should be. It's okay, I love you guys. No, you don't. No, you're not getting timed out for that, Hanzo. That's actually that's good shit. It's all good, Hanzo. Hanzo wants to get timed out. All right. Oh, Jesus, Digital Dude. Digital Dude, did you just refer to your PS5 Pro? Okay. All right. Digital Dude, now that's out of pocket, bro. That's out of pocket. Richrod, now there's a Digital Dude tax. 5 memberships, Digital Dude. That's crazy for making me read that. All right, we need to get back on track here. I tell the ladies it's hard to rely on teraflops. I'm sure they know exactly what you're talking about, Hanzo. How's that work out for you? What's the PlayStation rumor? Somebody give me the dates. So the rumor, it comes from Jeff Grubb. Jeff Grubb is confirming that Sony is going to be doing either a PlayStation showcase or a state of play at the end of September. Oh, God. Shadowlink, not you too, bro. Thank you, Dark Cloud. I'm glad you enjoy the content, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, makes me happy. Well, you know, we do have Gamescom opening night live tomorrow, and confirmed. Ghost of Yote is confirmed to be there tomorrow, so we know PlayStation's showing up. However, apparently there's like a new headset, InZone H9 2 or something like that. Mr. B, you're skipping opening night live? Why is that? Kirby Air Riders 45-minute direct tomorrow. Bro, a 45-minute direct for one game? Are you serious? Is that real? Oh, God. Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. Mr. B says he has to work. He's not going to. The way you worded it, I thought you were like purposely skipping it. Petrov, I'm not sure, buddy. I don't know. Well, the question I have for tomorrow's event, specifically for PlayStation, is will there be any other surprises? Will there be any surprises? It seems like they might reveal new hardware with a new in-zone headset. Now, I don't know how exciting that is. Apparently, this headset's going to be like $300 or something like that. It's going to be very expensive. So now Dark Cloud's getting in on it. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, Lady Gamer. It just happens sometimes, you know? You get a couple people in the chat, they get just a little bit out of pocket, and then it's all downhill from there. It's all downhill from there. I love showing... Oh, my God. Digital Dude says he loves showing off his PSSR. I bet you do, Digital Dude. I can only imagine being a new viewer, man. I can only imagine being a new viewer that comes across my news video today. And you're like, wow, this is a pretty decent PlayStation content creator. Oh, cool. MBG, he covers PlayStation content. He did a good job with this video, giving me all the news I need. Concise, somewhat professional, mostly professional. Oh, he even has a PlayStation podcast. Let me go check it out. Just to come in and see this. Yote gameplay tomorrow. I think we could get more gameplay. I think we're getting a new story trailer for Ghost of Yote tomorrow. Has MBG ever broken into hysterics on stream? I don't think so. Well, I mean, it depends. I've had meltdowns. Yeah, so I guess the answer to that's yes, actually, Wes. Kirby Air Riders is from the director of Smash Bros. Okay. Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, I guess there's a lot of excitement for it if it's getting a 45-minute direct. Hanzo says you need guys like us. Wait till they get a load of my heat sink. Now that has to be the worst one yet. I mean, I guess the blue box streams could count as hysterics. I mean, if you want to see me basically being crazy and borderline mentally ill, although any people would say today I'm mentally ill. I'm always mentally ill. But if you want to see me like slightly more mentally ill than usual, you go watch those blue box streams. No, Hanzo. I disagree. Spreading laughter is good. It's true. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Early or late September? Late September. We don't have the exact week, but whatever this PlayStation event is, it seems like it's going to be, well, Jeff Grubb did say it's going to be at the end of September. What if it's on my birthday? Hold on, let me see. It could be. It could be. September 30th. That's my birthday. That is on a Tuesday. Yo, that'd be awesome. What if it's a showcase? Yo, what if Sony does a PlayStation showcase on my birthday? How crazy would that be? That would be awesome. The H9 V2 headset will probably feature the planar magnetic drivers. Those are the ones that are in the Pulse Elite headset, right? They're very good. MBG, for how good Mark Cerny supposedly is, why didn't Sony get him to make high-end parts or technology and become as big as AMD or NVIDIA? I'm not sure. Maybe it's too much of an investment. Maybe Sony doesn't feel comfortable making that big of an investment. Neo, your birthday is on September 16th. Anything in September is a W. Well, something else that's worth noting is last September was huge for PlayStation. Sony had a lot going on last September. They had the release of Astrobot, the announcement of the PS5 Pro. They had a state of play. They showed Death Stranding 2. I mean, they had a lot going on, dude. I don't know that September will be as packed this year for PlayStation. In terms of video game releases, it's going to be packed. But in terms of like announcements and stuff, I don't know how intense it's going to be. Oh yeah, that's true, Isley. I forgot that they acquired them. A lot of people very excited for Borderlands 4. You think it's being slept on though? Well, dude, yeah, Borderlands is going to sell like crazy. I didn't realize that franchise has sold like, what is it, close to 100 million or something like that? Just some absurd number. I had no idea Borderlands was such a big seller, so I'm sure Borderlands 4 is going to do big numbers. There's a new trailer for Lost Soul Aside. Let's check it out. Hold on. Yeah, so my big thing right now is I'm trying to platinum Death Stranding. Like, I mean, I know I keep saying this over and over again, but I'm trying desperately to make sure I get the platinum for Death Stranding 2 before Metal Gear Solid Delta launches. Apparently there is a new Lost Soul Aside trailer, though, and I want to check it out. So hold on. Let's take a look.
Relax your mind. Embrace my power.
Yeah, I mean, yesterday people were saying that that Sony's not marketing this game, but clearly they are. It looks crazy. It like I almost wonder if there's like too many effects happening on screen at one time. But it looks crazy, man. The combat looks really fun. It looks really good. Still, I don't know that this is going to be a day one buy or play for me because look at the date, August 29th. Dude, I'm playing Metal Gear Solid. But I want to get around to playing this. It looks fun. I like what I'm seeing. DMC killer? I don't think so. No, I wouldn't go that far. Certainly not. But it looks like it could be another game that kind of channels that type of action, that type of combat. But yeah, it is good to see that they are marketing it. Let me head back to the chat here. You'll be playing Gears of War Reloaded as well. Yeah, there's just too many games coming out in a short period of time, man. Petrov, I'm sorry, buddy. Well, speaking of Metal Gear Solid Delta, how are we feeling? We are... Let me double check. So... Metal Gear Solid Delta officially launches in 10 days. So we're just 10 days away from the launch. But if you get the digital deluxe version, you get 48 hours early access. So technically we're like 8 days away from the launch of Metal Gear Solid Delta. I mean, I'm feeling good about it, man. I'm feeling very good about it. I feel like this has been something where it's like, man, it feels kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, it feels kind of weird that it's like gonna be out in 8 days. I remember it just like it was yesterday, watching the PlayStation 2023 showcase and seeing it finally revealed. We had it rumored prior, but I'm feeling very good about it. I know some people are a little bit nervous about Metal Gear Solid Delta, but typically you don't play remakes if you already beat the original game. You're not going to get Metal Gear Solid Delta day one. Dark Cloud, you're buying the collector's edition for Metal Gear Solid Delta. Nice, dude. Zero Point, you're saying Gears of War Reloaded is going to be your first Gears game? Yeah, exactly. We've been waiting. Dude, I remember at the beginning of this generation, like 2020 and 2021, there were rumors that Konami was doing a Metal Gear Solid 1 remake for PS5. And then it just went quiet. It went dark for a while. And then we finally had the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake announced. So I'm rooting for the Metal Gear Solid remake, and I actually want to read this article to you guys. Let me bring it up. So David Hayter has talked about the potential of Metal Gear Solid games being made without Hideo Kojima and potential fan reactions to it. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is the first new release in the Metal Gear series since Hideo Kojima left Konami back in 2015. And no, we do not count Metal Gear Survive. That never happened. And while the new game is an almost too faithful remake of the 2004 classic, it represents what is hopefully the return for the legendary franchise. With many of the original staff members now pursuing new paths, we are aware that there are still elements lacking in our ability to fill the gaps left by their departure, says Metal Gear series producer Noriaki Akamura, who spoke to PC Gamer magazine in issue 413, positioning the remake as almost an exercise to train up a development team who could lead the franchise into new games. He adds, through the development of Metal Gear Solid Delta, we have also gained a new sense of what our team is capable of. But of course, there's not really any game developer with a more fervent fan base than Hideo Kojima, whose DNA is all over the Metal Gear series, with some wondering if a new entry without him is even possible. When asked about whether it's possible to make a new Metal Gear game, Snake voice actor David Hayter said, "I think it's absolutely possible." He says, will it be the same? No. There's no way to replicate Kojima's exact genius, his exact weirdness, his specific personality. However, to David Hayter, that's not a huge deal. When I was a kid, I loved Tim Burton's Batman and was like, that's how Batman should be done. And then Christopher Nolan does Batman, and you're like, oh, that's pretty badass as well. So will it be the same? No. Could it be amazing? Sure. Of course, whatever Konami decides to do with Metal Gear from here on out will be judged through the lens of Kojima, especially when he's working on his own Metal Gear spiritual successor with Physint, which is still another 5 to 6 years away, meaning both games could somehow end up competing against each other, which would be crazy. That would be crazy, dude. But yeah, so I wanted to ask you guys what you think about David Hayter's comments here. According to him, he thinks that a new Metal Gear Solid game, like a proper new Metal Gear Solid game, could be good. It could be great. It could be amazing. He does acknowledge that, will it be the same as a Hideo Kojima developed Metal Gear Solid game? No. And I agree with that. I think everybody can agree that if Hideo Kojima doesn't go back to Konami or partner with Konami, he's not going to go back to Konami, but if he doesn't partner with Konami to make another Metal Gear Solid, then there's just no way around it. A new Metal Gear Solid will not be the same. Does that mean it shouldn't exist? Does that mean it shouldn't happen? Does that mean it can't be good? I mean, I have to say I'm mostly in agreement with what David Hayter's saying here. I think he's correct that we could get a new Metal Gear Solid game and it could be great. But I think we are just going to have to eventually let go of the fact that some of the things that made Metal Gear Solid so special and made those games great will no longer be in those games. But there's no denying that the universe Hideo Kojima created and his team, what they created with Metal Gear Solid, there's still, I think, more to be potentially extracted from it. And it could go terribly wrong. I think we've already seen the worst. If you look at Metal Gear Solid, or not Metal Gear Solid, Metal Gear Survive, I think that's the worst of the worst. That's the epitome of Konami asking a team to just crap something out with the Metal Gear name on it that has nothing to do with the game and is just a joke. So we've already hit rock bottom. But seeing how they're coming back to it now with respect and treating it with that respect and understanding that, like, you need to care about the fans and what the fans think, and you need to try to speak to the fans and create a dialogue, even though you really screwed Kojima over. Konami seems to be aware of that now. They seem to be understanding of that. And so this is why I'm rooting for Metal Gear Delta. Imagine if Metal Gear Solid Delta outsells Death Stranding 2. I think there's a high chance it will. Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate to a degree, but like, the reality, I think, for Metal Gear Solid Delta is it's way more appealing on the surface than Death Stranding is. I think if Death Stranding wasn't a sequel, if Death Stranding 2 wasn't a sequel, I think it would, it would be a different story. But it is a sequel. People know what Death Stranding 2 is. They know the core gameplay mechanics. You know what I mean? They have an understanding of like, this isn't Metal Gear at all. Although there are aspects of Death Stranding 2 that are very Metal Gear. But I think you understand what I'm saying. Like, Metal Gear Solid 3 just has more universal appeal, I would say. And so I don't know that it's going to be surprising to see it, to see it outsell Death Stranding 2. At least my assumption is it will. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overestimating how much Metal Gear Solid Delta is going to sell. I just checked Delta Force on my PS5 MBG. The countdown says 8 hours. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Yeah, I thought it could be played now. That's interesting. It's releasing in 8 hours. Is David Hayter's voice going to be used on the remake? Yes, they're keeping the exact same voiceovers for Metal Gear Solid Delta. Shems, what's going on, bud? Well, I know some people have some trepidation for Metal Gear Delta, and I understand. Konami still has to prove themselves. I have to determine for myself what I think of this remake, but everything I've seen of it so far, I'm feeling very good. The review embargo for Metal Gear Solid Delta is Friday, the 22nd. Really? That's good, though. That's good. That's a sign of confidence. Hopefully it reviews well, Is it different Konami than it was then? Well, yeah, a lot of people I think don't know that the leadership, the people who were in charge of Konami back in 2015 and 2016 and 27, through that whole situation leading up to the release of Metal Gear Survive, they're gone. There's a new leadership, there's a new hierarchy at Konami, and you can tell. I mean, you can absolutely tell the way that they're, the way that they're handling things now. MBG, I believe you had a video on your channel going off on Metal Gear, right? Survive Days. Yeah, I believe so. I did have a video, one of my earliest videos, basically bitching about Konami selling a Game of the Year edition or whatever of MGS 5, and I was just really pissed because it was like, screw them, for what they did to Kojima, and they didn't even let him finish this game, but they're gonna sell a Game of the Year version or whatever. And it was some of my earliest YouTube days ranting. You think Death Stranding 2 will have a better score? Will MGS 3 Delta review higher than Death Stranding 2? It's a good question. I'm not sure, man. I mean, let me go see the Metacritic for the MGS 3 Snake Eater. Metacritic is 91 based on 68 critic reviews. It's got a user score of 9.4. Hold on. Dude, it's crazy. There's a review in here for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater back in 2004. There's a review that gave it a 5 out of 10 from the Detroit Free Press. Are they even around anymore? Do they even review games anymore? Holy shit. Like, they basically said this game is like Rambo 3. And like the worst parts of Rambo 3. And they gave it a 5 out of 10, bro. What? Oh man, it's crazy to think that even back then it was happening. It was going like this, I guess it's not surprising. Holy shit. Rambo 3 is low-key underrated, MBG. Dude, yeah, it's crazy to think it's been over 20 years since Metal Gear Solid 3 came out. Where's the time go, man? Yeah, I was basically like 10 years old when I was playing Metal Gear Solid 3. What a mind-blowing game. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy to see this game coming out, and there's definitely a heavy nostalgia there, But the Metal Gear Solid series, it is sad to see that. It is sad to know that Kojima's pretty much done with it. But at the same time, like, I'm happy to see that Konami is approaching this remake with the care that it deserves, and they seemingly do care whether or not this thing is going to be received well, and that makes me feel good because they didn't have to do that. If Konami was still being run the way that they were, 10 years ago, they probably just would have crapped this out and not cared and just been happy with whatever they got. But they're seemingly trying to, you could tell, like with Silent Hill 2 remake, they are taking gaming more seriously. They're trying to get back in, and they're trying to earn some level of respect. And I think that so far they've been on a good path. I think that they knocked it out of the park with Bloober Team, with Silent Hill 2 remake. I think, what was that one Silent Hill game that came out that it was bad? They announced it in 2022, and it was like this choice-based game that you played with other people or like a chat. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I think that was the only bad thing that they've done so far. Resurrection, Ascension, is that what it is? Silent Hill Ascension. Dude, it was like so weird. They had emojis where it said like trauma or something like that. I don't know if it was Ascension, last message. It was something like that. Like people don't even remember the name of it because it was so crappy. But I think that was like the only negative thing they've done so far. But even then, like it went so under the radar. Most people don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. But when it comes to the AAA space and, you know, trying to resurrect their franchises, the short message, excuse me. There you go. Yeah. Dude, that's so funny. They had a trauma emoji. Holy crap, man. That's wild. They did a great job with Silent Hill 2 remake. They have a Silent Hill 1 remake in development. They do have that Townfall thing. I think that's still in development. Not sure what's going on with that, but with Metal Gear, dude, I'm super excited for Metal Gear Delta, obviously, but I'm really curious to see this multiplayer game mode. I don't have high hopes for it. You know, it's coming this fall, so they delayed the game mode. It's not launching with the game, which makes me wonder if they're going to try to sell it separately. They also said there's not going to be crossplay. So I don't know that I have much hope, but just the fact that there will be something there that can keep me playing something Metal Gear, you know, I'm looking forward to it. And we also know that eventually we're going to get the Metal Gear Solid Collection Volume 2. And I'm really curious to see when that's announced. I'm assuming that'll be announced sometime next year. And I'm curious to see what games they put in there. Oh, yeah. Silent Hill F, of course. Of course. Dude, I'm not going to lie. I keep forgetting that game is coming out next month. Silent Hill F apparently is previewing really well. Apparently, like, they did a really good job. I want to play it. The problem is I don't know if I'm going to be able to at launch. This is the problem I'm facing right now. When Delta drops, there's a chance I'm still going to be trying to platinum DS2. I could probably balance at least 2 games at one time. The thing is, once Metal Gear comes, I don't think I'm going to be playing anything else for a little bit. So the goal, the way it was supposed to work is I gotta have Death Stranding 2 platinumed by the time Metal Gear comes out. And then I have to have Metal Gear completely wrapped up by the time Ghost of Yotei comes out. And there's like a bunch of other games releasing in between them that I'm definitely going to be late to some. And I hate it, man, because there's like periods of time where there's just like not many games coming out. But then there are other times where it's like now, where you just have all these games coming at once. And it's like, bro. MBG, the developers say they're making it more of an action game and not leaning into the horror aspects of the franchise, which killed my hype. No, I don't think it does seem like they're definitely leaning into the horror, but I think they're just adding more action. You know what's interesting is I know it sounds crazy, but I've seen some people even saying that the gameplay is almost, not entirely, but almost like a Souls-like or something with the melee. I'm not going to lie, that kind of interests me a little bit, where I'm like, whoa, I thought you were just going to be walking around with a pipe the whole game, you know, like just beating people over the head with a pipe. We have SIE's Hiroki Totoki in the chat. Mr. Totoki, I'm surprised you took time out of your busy schedule to join us today. Shems is very upset with me. I think combat's very mid. I mean, I'm interested in the idea of a melee-based Silent Hill game where the melee mechanics are actually very deep. That actually sounds very intriguing to me. I haven't played Silent Hill F myself, so I can't obviously say what it feels like, but Irfan says, please don't spread Totokism here. Fatal Frame plus Siren. Interesting. Yeah, I'm happy to see that Konami seems to have found their footing, you know, and they apparently have a new Castlevania game in development, a AAA Castlevania game that at some point is going to be revealed. I think the rumor was it's going to be revealed before the end of this year. And it's been in development for a few years now. So, but yeah, man. God, I can't wait for Metal Gear Delta. It doesn't feel real. I'm not going to lie. It doesn't feel real. Am I going to be playing Ninja Gaiden 4? It does look pretty good. When does that come out again, 0 Point? You're saying it's nice to see Konami trying again. It is. It is. And I think that's the important part, is it seems like they're actually trying. They're not just half-assing it. They're not just phoning it in, you know? Bro, Hiroki Totoki in the chat says, I appreciate all the work you put in. Sorry for going full third party starting this fall. It's all good, Mr. Totoki. Thank you for the heads up, though. Guys, you heard it here first. We got Hiroki Totoki in the chat straight up letting us know full third party this fall, guys. Full third party. Yeah, I don't think we heard. We know that Metal Gear Solid Delta is going to be PS5 Pro Enhanced. We know it's going to be Pro Enhanced, but I don't think did they confirm yet? What, like, I wonder if it's going to be using PSSR or not. I'm assuming we'll be getting like a Digital Foundry analysis, right? I'll definitely be interested in watching that. Dark Cloud, that's cursed, bro. 0 Point, you think Hell Is Us is a DOA game? You think so? I mean, I haven't been paying that much attention to it. I know it has a free demo. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, take a moment and hit that like button. We are sitting at 132 likes, so we did it. We got over 125. Let's get a big push. Can we do it? Can we hit 150? And we are sitting at 37 members, guys. We are 13 away. We're 13 away from hitting 50. I think we can do it today. I think we can hit 50. I believe in you guys. Yeah, the Hell Is Us demo is out now on PS5. I think it's on all consoles, actually. Or no, I think it's on PlayStation and Xbox. I know they put the demo out for PC early, though. For those wondering, by the way, yeah, so I see somebody mentioning the God of War collection. The reason why I put that younger-looking Kratos in my thumbnails, because I do think that a potential surprise announcement we could get tomorrow, potential, not banking on it, is that side-scrolling 2.5D game where you're playing as young Kratos. I could see that. But, you know, I could also see it not showing up. I just think if we're going to throw out, like, a surprise, like, here you go, random announcement you weren't expecting from Sony, that could be one I see showing up. But I'm not banking on it. Kratos is also behind me. Yes, that's true. Oh, that sounds... He's... All right. I see what you did. I see what you did, Outer Heaven. We have Angry Whale Watcher, a member for 21 months. He says, sold my PS5 and picked up a Portal and a Wi-Fi extender for my Pro. GTA 3 on the Portal keeps my TV open for sports. Portal is very light for how big it is. That's good to hear, Angry Whale Watcher. You know what's funny? I saw somebody, I forget where I read this, but somebody was saying that they liked the smaller DualSense. Apparently, and I didn't know this, apparently the DualSense that's cut in half for the Portal is a little bit smaller. And somebody was saying how, like, they want Sony to make a smaller DualSense. I didn't know that, but it's interesting to hear that you saw. I'm assuming you sold your original PS5, Angry Whale Watcher, to get the Portal. I really want to get a Portal. I still haven't gotten one yet. But I've heard nothing but good things about it, man. You know, that's what's interesting to me is I haven't seen anybody. I mean, I've seen people say that they're not interested in it, but anybody who has had interest in it and bought it, like, they're like, yeah, this thing's great. Ansel says his Portal comes in clutch all the time. Shems, you're saying the analog sticks are smaller. Is it just the sticks, or is it the entire controller that's smaller? I think you could make a smaller DualSense, but I don't know how much smaller you could really make it. Yes, gaming. So Gaming Survivor, just to clue you in, Jeff Grubb, he said today that, yeah, it'll never be that bad again, Gaming Survivor, never. Jeff Grubb said that Sony is either going to have a state of play or a showcase at the end of September. He can confirm that. So he's been 100% accurate. So I'm hoping it's going to be on my birthday. Shems is like, MBG, give me 5 seconds. I'm going to go check. Shems is on it. He's investigating. MBG, what about the Starfield announcement for PS5 at Gamescom? Well, I think the last rumor we heard about Starfield coming to PlayStation was that it is happening, and it's happening, I believe, spring of next year, and it's going to be alongside a big new expansion. So breaking news, Sony push Square. Maybe a PlayStation showcase, probably a state of play. Sony planning a PS5 live stream. What is this? Dark Cloud maybe push Square reporting on it. That's my assumption. Let me check. Dude, there's no way. Dark Cloud, I know you didn't mean for this to happen, but the moment I went on Push Square's website, the first article I see is meltdowns on social media as Sony markets its upcoming Xbox port. Oh, man. I'm actually not seeing anything about the PlayStation event, though. I got to see what they're saying here, though, about this. September 25th, state of play / showcase, you think? Oh, yeah, that's true. Indiana Jones was announced for PS5 as the one more thing announcement at Gamescom last year. Played the Battlefield 6 beta on your Portal this weekend and loved it. Really? On your Portal? Wasn't too much input lag? MBG, the grips and buttons are the same. Only the sticks are smaller. Huh. That's interesting. So they kept the controller the same size, but they just made the analog sticks a bit smaller. I wonder what that's like. Eventually I'll know. Eventually I'm going to get one. So I'll find out for myself. But there is this write-up on Push Square, and it says, if you've happened to visit the cesspit that is X this weekend, formerly Twitter, then you'll have seen the meltdowns over Sony's decision to market one of its upcoming games. The official PlayStation.com page for Helldivers 2 has now been updated to reference the release on Microsoft's machine, which will be available on August 26th. This is nothing particularly out of the ordinary, of course. Sony has always advertised all versions of MLB The Show games since it went multi-platform, and included a similar acknowledgement for the Nintendo Switch version of LEGO Horizon Adventures. We suppose the biggest change here, of course, is that the Xbox version of Helldivers 2 exists at all. While the live service nature of the title does make it a bit different to other Sony releases, the existence of a multi-format focused job listing has made fans question whether PlayStation is giving up on exclusivity entirely. Pack it up, console warriors, wrote ex-IGN editor Destin Legary. It's time to retire. His replies are, as you would expect, filled with fans who believe Marvel's Spider-Man and Days Gone Remastered are making the move to Xbox, as has been a common point of discussion lately, with very little evidence to support it. Sony, for the record, has yet to comment on the strategy. Most recently, PlayStation Studios boss Herman Hulse said the company needs to be really thoughtful about bringing its brands off console, but it feels like this is a fast-developing situation, and we're not really sure what its objectives are anymore. Pack it up, console warriors. It's time to retire. Yeah. I mean, can you argue with it at this point? MBG Portal, little MBG Bluey. Yeah, dude. Hell yeah, Angry Well Watcher. Jeff Grubb is saying, quote, "We're going to get updates from Sony here pretty soon. Typically, Sony announces showcases or stated plays rather closer to the event, but if they announce it tomorrow at Gamescom, that'd be hype." Or sorry, hold on, wait, where'd the quote end? Sorry, yeah, hold on. Quote, "We're going to get updates from Sony here pretty soon," end quote. Okay. Thank you, Jack. You think the Portal is very useless? I don't think so, man. I think that what makes the Portal kind of cool is it's as convenient as it can be, where it's like, here's a tablet with a DualSense cut in half. It's basically just a DualSense with a screen, if you think about it. And I think that's kind of awesome. But I do understand that for some people, I mean, it might make more sense for them to just use your phone. I get that. But I don't know, man. The thing is, you use your phone for so many other things. Do you really want that killing your battery? It's like, I remember I saw this video a while ago of somebody using their phone as a console. Like they were playing like Resident Evil on it. Like they had it hooked up to the TV and everything. I'm like, what the I'm like, who would want to do that? Why would you do that? Like, what? Most people want to use their phone while they're gaming. Just realized, Metal Gear Ray just had a realization. Just realized this is not, is it not weird that Phil Spencer's initials are PS? It was right in front of us this whole time, Ray. James, you're saying it's awesome. The streaming is very good. Smurf says, "I tried getting my PS5 through my Chromebook and it couldn't get it to work." Damn, dude. I want to go check this tweet though that this article referenced. This tweet must have really ruffled some feathers if it blew up. Okay, so I see the picture. Oh, wow, that's brutal. 80 million versus 30 million. Yes, it's over. Somebody says it's only a matter of time with Christian Bale. Dude, hold on. I gotta see if it'll let me bring this picture up. Guys, trigger warning. We got a trigger warning right now. It's not even gonna let me bring it up. I'm sorry. It won't let me save. Why won't it let me save the image? It was just Christian Bale holding a copy of Spider-Man for Xbox. I don't get it, man. Yo, Garrett is arguing the value of the PlayStation Portal right now. Adama the Dragoon says, "I've been using my Steam Deck to stream from PC and PS5, and I found myself wishing I had a Portal for the comfort. The button layout on the Steam Deck makes a lot of games difficult to play." That's interesting, Adama. Yeah, I always felt like, even though when you first look at the PlayStation Portal, it looks a little silly, like you're like, oh, that's kind of different looking. But I always had this feeling, even though I never got to hold one in my hands yet, I've always had this feeling that that has to be the most comfortable handheld to use. It looks like the most easily breakable, I'm not going to lie. The Portal looks like if you drop that a couple of times, it's just going to break. But it looks like the most comfortable to hold in that, like, yeah, man, I'm used to the feeling of holding a DualSense. So if that's basically all it is you're just holding a DualSense with a screen in the middle, you know, that's awesome. So yeah, eventually I will get my hands on a Portal, and I'll definitely review it, you know, or give my thoughts on it when I get around to it. I love the DualSense. Yeah, the DualSense is such a great controller. I did like the DualShock 4 as well. The ergonomics of the DualShock 4 is very nice. Always loved the Xbox controller too. The Xbox controllers always had a great feel. Ray, you're saying the Portal looks odd, but it is comfortable to hold. The Portal doesn't have Wi-Fi 6. I wonder if that'll be like a selling point for the upcoming PlayStation handheld, because I have to assume you will be able to use, even though it will be an expensive premium handheld, you will be able to stream with it as well, for any game that's not optimized for it or can't be playable on it natively. And maybe they'll have Wi-Fi 6 or something as like a selling point. The curves, MBG, the curves of the PlayStation Portal. Doesn't the Pro have Wi-Fi 7? I think it does, actually, yeah. I think that was one of the selling points of the PS5 Pro. I mean, I keep my PS5 Pro wired with the Ethernet cable. Let me see here. Oh, gotta get rid of that. I mean, yeah, I don't think streaming your games is the ideal way to play them. I don't think it's the ideal way to play them, but it does seem like if you use the Portal and if you use the Portal and you have a good enough internet connection, it seems like it works really well. Again, I don't have firsthand experience with it, but everybody that I've encountered and talked to and spoken to about it, they, I think there are times where people have tried to use it outside of the home, maybe, and the connection just wasn't there. But Diego, you're saying, could we see OD tomorrow? It's possible. Yeah. I know Xbox is going to have some kind of significant presence at Gamescom. So we could see OD tomorrow. I mean, you'll probably see stuff like another trailer for Gears of War Reloaded, or maybe a Helldivers trailer for Xbox or something like that. Ms. Biz says the Portal doesn't have HDR, so having to disable it on my PS5 every time you use it is annoying. Yeah, I could see how that's kind of annoying. I wonder if that means the more premium handheld that they're working on will have HDR built into it. If it have like an HDR screen, I mean. Zero Point says, no cap, I'm happy for the PS Portal testers. Thanks, now Sony can make a legit handheld. Well, I mean, that's the thing. When the Portal came out, we all kind of had this feeling. There was just this feeling in the air of like, is this, like, are you guys doing what I think you're going to be doing? Is this like a test bed for a more proper handheld? And now we know, because the PlayStation 6 APU leaked. There's, I know Orion is the name of the PS6 console. And what's the Kanan? Is that, I forget what the name was, but basically the APU of the handheld for the proper PlayStation handheld leaked. And yeah, man, it's Sony's going all in with it. They're going all in with it, man. And it's going to be so interesting to see the difference in the rollout of that proper handheld versus, Sorry about that. I was just saying that it's going to be so interesting to see the difference in the rollout and the reactions, and obviously just the capability of a proper PlayStation handheld versus, what we see now with the PlayStation Portal. I mean, the upcoming PlayStation handheld is going to be very different from what we've seen from Sony in the past, just like the Portal is very different. The last two native PlayStation handhelds we got were the PlayStation Vita and the PlayStation Portable. And they were both great. Unfortunately, Sony abandoned the Vita. But the big difference between this more premium handheld from Sony that's going to be coming out alongside the PlayStation 6 is that it's going to be tethered to the PlayStation ecosystem properly. And that's going to be a first for a handheld that can play games natively for Sony. The Vita was still a separate device from the PlayStation 4. They tried to kind of market them together, but it was still a separate device. It needed its own games. Developers had to target it, and it was just too different from the PS4, and they couldn't really blend them together. That's going to change with this upcoming handheld, and I'm just really curious to see how people react to it. I'm trying to imagine, like, Sony announces this family of devices for the PlayStation 6. I say a family, but they'll have the home console and the handheld device, and then you'll have a game maybe like Spider-Man 3 or Horizon 3 announced for it. And every time they announce these games, it'll say like, I mean, you see games that say like they're Steam Deck verified. Maybe it'll be like, PlayStation Portable verified or something like that, right? And so it's like if you buy this game digitally and you happen to have the handheld, you'll be able to just play it on your handheld. When you boot it up, it'll look just like the PlayStation 6 operating system. Yeah, so I guess what I'm trying to say is like I'm expecting it to just be like a portable PlayStation 5 essentially. That basically seems to be what they're targeting. And it's just so interesting to me to think that we started with the Portal, which is like a streaming device, and it's going to lead to that. No, the PlayStation handheld has not formally been announced yet, but it is real. The AMD's APU leaked out for the handheld and the PS6, so it's 100% real. It's happening. It's just a matter of like, I mean, I have the feeling, and I've talked about this with you guys numerous times. I have a feeling that the next generation for PlayStation is going to be very different in a sense, where like just the way they talk about it, the way they roll it out. I think some things will be similar, of course. Like there are going to be certain foundational tenets, if you will, that will be the same as what was there for the PS5, the PS4, and every PlayStation console to a degree. But it's going to be so interesting if Sony decides to reveal and release these devices like very close to one another, and they are, they're kind of going to take a multi-prong approach here with hardware, and I feel like that will be. See, like the big question is Sony going to reveal and announce the handheld alongside the console? I think not. I think the way it's probably going to go down is you're going to see the console revealed first. You're going to see the console revealed, and there's going to be no mention of a handheld. And then like a year later, you'll see the handheld revealed. I think it'll be a staggered rollout. And I'm not exactly sure what the reason for that would be, other than they just don't want it to be too messy at the launch of the PS6. They want to have like a clear runway, single piece of hardware. They want to keep it simple. But at the same time, I do feel like Sony, if they wanted to add like an extra layer of just sheer excitement, looking at it from the other angle, Sony could. You think it might be the handheld first? I don't think the handheld will be revealed first. Well, actually, you know what, Garrett? On the flip side, maybe it could, because maybe Sony, yeah, they are kind of aware that like there's an audience that wants a portable PS5. The people who were interested in the Portal, but it's like, oh, it doesn't play games natively. I'm good. So that's possible. Yeah, I mean, if it's more of because it could be more of a PS5 device, right? Like, and actually, yeah, it seems more likely it's going to be more of a PS5 device because it's going to play PS5 games natively, not really PS6 games. Although I'm not so sure about the whole PS6 situation, because like, I mean, again, like we're looking at a generation where cross-gen is going to be, a major component So if a game is going to be a PS6 game, but there's also a PS5 version, I guess that means it's highly likely that there will be this portable version as well. But I was going to say, like, Sony could maybe want to roll out the PlayStation portable device alongside the high-end console as like a kind of I don't know if safety net is the right word, but to basically pump it up more, right? Where it's like, listen, if you're not going to be excited about the PS6, because maybe a lot of people just won't be excited about the PS6. Maybe people will be like, it's PS5 Pro still looks fine or whatever. Why should I be excited about this? Maybe Sony's answer says, oh, by the way, we have another device, PlayStation handheld. And that could be like, oh, you know what, actually, I'm not really interested in the PS6, but that new handheld. And so it could kind of create this, I don't know, like a level of insurance, I guess, where it's like, if we can't really sell as many people on the PS6 as we would have liked, we have this handheld device that's going to kind of be the ace in the hole, so to speak, where it's like, to all those people who aren't excited, maybe this will do it for you. So that way, no matter what, there's going to be positive buzz and talk around the PlayStation 6, Yeah, that's my big question, Diego. I will continue to talk about it until we get answers, but I just want to know what Sony's plan is for physical games and physical media with the PlayStation 6. It's going to be very, 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 very upsetting if Sony just decides to abandon physical games with the PlayStation 6. I don't think they will. That's going to be devastating, though. I think Sony has to stick with physical media for the PS6 just because it's like, I think they will push people to Nintendo. Yeah, they haven't. I mean, look, man, developers are going out of their way to make physical versions of PS5 games, just PS5. I don't think Sony's getting rid of physical. I don't. Like, when I look at that, I'm like, dude, they still have a lot of developer support, like Chronos The New Dawn. Like from Bloober Team, they're making a physical version just for PS5. No Switch physical, no Xbox, just PS5. And I'm like, that's a good sign, I think. So hopefully they will, and I'm sure, like, I don't know, even like a publisher like Microsoft, right? When they do, let's just say, Gears of War E-Day. Well, no, because if that comes out, what's like a PS6 Microsoft game? Like the Elder Scrolls, right? The Elder Scrolls 6. I'm sure as shit Microsoft's going to be like, we want to do a physical version for PlayStation for the Elder Scrolls 6. It's like, even developers, I think, are aware that, like, these audiences are out there and, we still want to have that option. And I just hope that sticks around, at least for PlayStation. Garrett, you're saying, Xbox Studios is making physical for PlayStation and not Xbox. That's what I mean, right? Feels like PlayStation's the last bastion. Shadowlink, you're saying MBG, the enthusiasts are not the majority, unfortunately. That is true. That's very true. I just hope that the minority remains a big enough percentage to, to really entice people, to really entice them to, not people, publishers and developers to keep supporting physical. You would think game devs themselves heavily prefer physical games. Yeah, pretty much. From a developer standpoint, probably. If not prefer, just certainly, have some level of support for it. It's really the publishers, I think, that, I don't know. It's a mixed bag, The biggest difference between, consuming digital media for games versus like movies, TV shows, music, books is games are very large. They're very large. And granted, internet has gotten a lot better. It's gotten a lot better. For a lot of people, it's nothing to download 100 gigabytes. But, I do think that basically it's the size of games that has prevented digital from completely taking over. But you do see the percentages where like now only like 13% or something, or like 15% of people are buying physical. So the number's shrinking, which means more and more people are getting better internet, which isn't a bad thing, but for physical media, it might be a bad thing. As an Xbox player, I stopped buying digital in the 360 era. Physical media is a niche now. Laws is saying, is the stream still going? It's either frozen or buffering so bad. Man, YouTube's still having problems? This is the last generation you'll be supporting physical games. Next gen, you're going all digital. Well, a lot of people, I think, embrace that going into this generation. A lot of people embraced going all digital this gen, and I understand why. Some people did it last gen. And some people are going to do what you're doing, Dark Cloud, where it's like going all digital. For me, I don't know if it'll play out this way. I know that there are people where if they no longer have the choice to buy games physically, they're like, I'm just not going to move forward. I'm not that person. If the PlayStation 6 generation doesn't have physical games, you know, I'm going to be really pissed and annoyed and upset, but I'm still going to engage with that generation. I'm still going to play games. You know what I mean? I'm not going to let that literally stop me from playing games. But my hope is that maybe the best I can hope for is that I can create a collection of PS5 and hopefully PS6 games, with PS6 being that's it. You know, like when the PlayStation 6 generation comes to an end, or we're approaching the PS7, I guess, assuming that will be a thing, it'll be abundantly clear that like only 4% or 3% of people buy physical. So PS7's finally going to give it up, and that'll be the full conversion to digital. I could be okay with looking back and be like, okay, I have a full PS6 and PS5 physical collection. And moving forward, I guess that will be it. I could come to terms with that, because I guess the timing would feel right, where it's like, yep, this is where we are. But, you know, who knows? Maybe there's a reality where I don't know. It's super unlikely, but maybe there's a reality where even going into the next generation, somehow there's still physical games, right? I don't know. Ray, you're saying, I told you MBG Xbox games will not be a thing in retro stores because of the digital thing. Some Xbox games will be lost. It's very sad. Kaz Jam says digital games can be removed from you. It's true. I saw that game, Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. Apparently, it got like super censored. It got like super censored or whatever. I think it was so that you could no longer kill historical Chinese figures. If you have the physical version of that game, you could play it offline and get the original version, the non-censored version, you know, or the non-newly censored version. And that's what's interesting, right? Is like you see in this instance, like this is an instance where, I haven't looked too deep into it, but apparently they like super nerfed. Yeah, they like super, I mean, they really censored the shit out of this game, apparently. Well, apparently it's been nerfed as well, is what you're saying. But yeah, they censored it, and people are like freaking out about it. And it's like, well, and no, I don't think this isn't like a God, what's the other game? I'm drawing a blank on it. Why the fuck can't I remember the name of the game? My God, it's literally one of the. Why can't Stellar Blade? Okay, sorry, my brain's just functioning on a downshift right now because I've been talking for so long. This isn't like a Stellar Blade situation, as far as I'm aware, where it's like they slightly nerfed her outfit or something. Not like that. I mean, like, it's legitimately like you can't kill Chinese, like historical Chinese figures now. And it seems like it was like the Chinese government or somebody stepping in, being like, no, you're going to get rid of that right now. And, this is where some people still, they're advocating for like, this is why physical media will be important, because if this was a digital only game, then you would never be able to play the original version, Whereas if you have a physical copy, you can play it offline. You don't have to download the updates. Garrett, you're saying digital has its benefits, but digital games aren't in danger of extinction like physical. We should super physical. I don't know what that means. There's a typo. We should super physical. I think you meant to say support. Yeah. I like that, though. We should super physical. We should get super physical with our physical games, bro. Hell yeah, Garrett. I like the way you think. Dark Cloud, you're saying you don't require the physical item to still be able to enjoy gaming? No, I get that. I mean, I do have digital games, but at this point, I feel the urge to continue to support physical because I feel like it is at a point where it's like now more than ever, when making that choice, we have to, like, we are now becoming the statistic. Yeah, that's another problem, Chris. You're saying the fact that some discs only have 100 megabytes of data is just so freaking worthless. Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know what's going on with that, man. People are getting annoyed by it, though. Yeah, this is why I wonder what Sony's going to do if they do physical games next generation. I mean, are we going to be looking at disc keys? Is that what we're going to be seeing? Like, that's going to be the new norm? Where, yeah, you can buy this physical version of Horizon 3, but there's only 100 megabytes on the disc. It's just a key. Like, a part of me would be happy that, like, oh, I can still buy a physical version in a disc. But at the same time, it's like, but ultimately, like, see, I don't know, because, like, I'm like 50-50 with it, right? 50% of the reason I like collecting physical games and physical, well, I would say media, but I really just stick to games now, is because I actually like collecting them. Like, I do like seeing them on the shelf. I get a satisfaction. I like having the case, and whatnot. It, like, that part is 50% of it. Maybe sometimes 60 to 70% of it. I just like it. I like having a physical video game. The other part of it, though, is that, like, a lot of people, physical is so important for them because it's, you are not at risk of having your games taken from you, or if something ever happens, or if it's delisted or whatever. It's like you ultimately, as the consumer, have more control and ownership over the product. And I'll be honest, I don't lean so much on that side. I do care about that, but I don't feel like a nervousness with digital games that, like, and I'm just going to lose it one day. Maybe that's naive of me, but it's just like, for example, if I buy Metal Gear Solid Delta digitally, I don't have a fear that something's going to happen one day where I just, like, that game's just gone from my library, I just don't have that fear. Although I'm still going to buy it physically, but this is where, like, I don't know, I'm the type of person, like, dude, I have a Days Gone PS5 case that I had made. Well, yeah, there is that side of it. Like, if you get banned from PlayStation Network, yeah, then you're fucked. Yeah. Like, that's the worst case scenario, where if you get banned or something, or break the terms of service, then you're screwed. You just lose all of your games. But I have like a custom made like Days Gone PS5 case because there's just no physical version. There's just no physical version. But I'm like, it would be cool to have this like almost like a physical representation of a digital game I have. You know what I mean? Because that's my only other alternative. So I don't know. It's like I don't know what Sony's gonna do, but I hope the physical sticks around. MBG, what if you lose internet too? Then how do you play your games? Or if like PlayStation's hacked or whatever. Well, if the PlayStation Network gets hacked, that's a problem, and that did happen before. So there is that side to it. When it comes to, apparently you can play a lot of your digital games offline, as long as it's not a multiplayer game. There is the ability to do this, which I actually didn't know about until I think earlier this year or last year. But no, I'm still an advocate for physical media, man. I mean, just having that option. I don't want to see the option gone, dude. That's why I'm not a fan of the idea of like disc key cards or whatever, where it's like, I mean, come on. We need super physical, bro. All right, let's see where we're at here. Oh, so we're over the 3-hour mark. I didn't realize I was streaming for this long. Guys, we're at 141 likes. 9 more likes, and we hit 150. If you're enjoying the stream, if you're enjoying the podcast, and if you're enjoying the discussion, please take a moment of your time and just hit that like button. Press that like button. Smash it. Do whatever you want. But make sure it's pressed because it helps the stream. It helps with YouTube's algorithm. And guys, we are sitting at 37 members. You can't let me down like this today, guys. Don't get me wrong, 37 is great, but we're so close to 50. I believe in us. I think we can do it. Silent Spartan can't do it every day. You got a warning for calling someone a piece of shit in Gran Turismo 7 for ramming me off the track. I mean, dude, that's so stupid. I mean, don't get me wrong, Garrett. Like, it is aggressive on your part, but maybe that guy deserved it. Because maybe he was kind of being a piece of shit, you know? Like, come on, dude. We need a super deluxe edition. Super deluxe physical edition. I guess that would be the collector's editions. One of the reasons I do today, or you don't play multiplayer games, is because you don't need an 8-year-old getting your account banned or a salty AF adult that can't take an L. That's another problem. Yeah. And it's kind of like what Garrett was saying. That is another problem. Yo, Prince G says physical for life. He has about 4,000 games. God damn, dude. That's a lot. 4,000 games? That's definitely a collection, man. All right. Let me go check on something here. Jeff Kelly posted a picture of himself with a clown nose. Ah, shit. Reminds me of myself. Damn, dude. Prince, you're saying you're a collector? I mean, yeah, dude, to have over 4,000 physical games, you'd have to be. Do I think we see Judas? A lot of people have been waiting for that game. I mean, the timing feels right. It feels right. MBG, I posted on a Digital Foundry video that the PS5 Pro brings out the salty people, and the comments were toxic. I deleted the post. I mean, there's some truth to it, but Yeah, everybody's always salty over something, you know? Whenever Jeff clowns himself before the show, it usually means it's going to be a banger. I also notice he's been very quiet. He hasn't really been hyping it up. That usually is another sign that it's going to be pretty good. So, yeah, we've been hearing for a while that there's going to be a PS5 version of Red Dead Redemption 2 and also some kind of remaster for GTA 4, but neither have been announced yet. About half of those are suffering from disc rot. Raven says online sensitivity is trash nowadays. Damn, bro. Prince says it's nice to have a huge collection of games and consoles to play. That Jeff photo reminds me of thinking we were going to get Wolverine at Summer Game Fest. You believe Jeff is teasing Silk Song, Hollow Knight with the clown nose? That's what everybody seems to be thinking. I mean, why else would he do it, you know? Maybe he's just trying to tell anybody that if you're hyping up the show, you're a clown. Well, I mean, what's he really trying to say? What's Jeff really trying to say? Yeah, I mean, some of his shows, Prince, maybe weren't too great, but I don't know. I have a good feeling about opening night live tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good show. I do agree. Like, things are not the same in the showcase space ever since E3 completely died and went away. It is nice. I will say, like, the nice thing about E3 being gone is we now have more things to look forward to throughout the year. And if anything, because I'm a content creator and I stream these events, that's actually beneficial for me. But I can't deny that the kind of, as you put it, like the magic moments at E3. E3, I think, also represented aggressive competition, right? It was everybody showing up at the same time, bringing their A game. And that was so cool. You know, you don't really, it's not, I don't want to say that this means that they could just phone it in or half-ass it, but the reality is we are now at a point where you can have mid shows, and it's like, I guess this is fine, you know. It wasn't like that in the past. In the past, it was like you gotta go big or go home, man. Now, granted, maybe that did hamper development a little bit, and we heard Naughty Dog go on record saying that like it really interfered with their development pipeline, and I'm sure that was true for all developers. It's probably a pain in the ass, but still, you know, looking back on it, there's just no denying that when you look back at like E3 2016, you know, when you get that God of War demo and the live reaction and people like falling out of their seats and shit, so cool. Yeah, you don't really get it like that anymore. But at least Jeff Keighley still does live shows, though. I'll give him that. I mean, Microsoft, Sony, and certainly Nintendo, like none of them do live shows anymore. So I at least give Jeff some credit for making that happen. By the way, guys, come on. We are 4 likes away. You're telling me we can't hit 150 likes? What are you guys doing to me? What are you doing to me out here? Jack, you're really hoping that tomorrow's Gamescom opening night live show will be awesome? Well, I mean, look, man, I'm getting Ghost of Yotei, and I'm getting Resident Evil Requiem. Anything else on top of that I'm happy to see is just the icing on the cake, man. The reality is, I think Gamescom opening night live has been weak for the past couple of years. It has not been very good. Last year's, I think, was okay, but this year it seems like, it could be a better show. Thank you, Shems. Shems says, everybody push. You want Resident Evil 9 now? You can't wait. You're getting impatient. I mean, we don't have to wait that long. One of the things I'm really grateful about with Capcom announcing Resident Evil Requiem is that they're like, yeah, it's coming out next February. Oh, shit. Okay. It's like 6 or 7 months from the time it was announced. That's really not bad. But I get what you're saying. I'm stoked for it. It looks everything I've heard about Resident Evil 9 sounds awesome. Can't wait to see that gameplay though. I want to see how true that rumor is about it having like Last of Us-esque gameplay. I see that Series X is trending on Twitter. I wonder why. Shenmue 3 is releasing on PS5 and Xbox Series. Okay. I guess that's part of the reason why yeah, so Black Myth Wukong is going to be showing up. People are, I guess, expecting people are anticipating that there's going to be a DLC for Black Myth Wukong. I feel like that's been rumored for a long time. But yeah, I mean, them announcing and dropping a DLC alongside the Xbox version makes sense. We're going to get a Concord reveal. Concord 2. I mean, you know, I'm almost wondering if like Sony will show like a Fair Games trailer or something tomorrow. Something really underwhelming. On, you know, they'll have Ghost of Yotei. They're going to announce Concord coming to Xbox. They're going to give it another shot. Oh, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I forgot about that. There's a single player Iron Man game in development at EA. You think that they could show up with that? I'm really curious to see what that's going to look like. Getting a proper, I mean, like a really well made single player Iron Man game could be awesome. So you're saying the Switch 2 will have more exclusives than the PS5 and PS6 combined by 2030? Well, yeah. I guess that's true. I showed you one of my games, Shems. I showed you Evil Dead earlier. Eventually. If I can get my collection, if I can get it large enough, we'll do like a special stream or something, or video going over all the games. I did. I got it right here. Still in the packaging. Evil Dead. Apparently this game's getting delisted. So, this is what I'm saying. Physical media, bro. I can't get it back. That Wonder Woman game was canceled, by the way. Yeah, you're definitely not going to see a Wonder Woman game. Not only was that game canceled, but the studio was shut down. Monolith. Damn shame. To your point, I was looking into that. I don't think they make PS5 mystery boxes. And if they do, they're extremely expensive. Like, very expensive. Evil Dead is the only game MBG has. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my God, Richrod's back in the chat. Uh-oh. Richrod, you still got a 10 membership debt, bro. Corey covered 5 for you earlier. I think, to be honest, it wasn't that sad in my opinion that the Wonder Woman game got canceled, because who knows what that was going to be like. But to me, it's sad that it's really sad that the studio got shut down, because Monolith was a talented studio. MBG uses Game Pass, but will never admit it. Shh. Richrod says, come on, chat. Let's clear his debt. Richrod's sweating, bro. Just the way we like it. We got Richrod sweating. 0 Point, you're saying they do. Mystic is doing these unboxing videos all the time. Does he do them for PS5 games, though? Yeah, Mystic does good content. Does he do it for PS5 games? I wonder if there's a specific place you would have to buy these boxes from. Because when I looked it up, I couldn't really find them anywhere. I mean, I have used Game Pass before, yeah. Oh, you think James Gunn had something to do with the cancellation? I doubt it. I don't know. I don't know about that. Yo, Steven thinks they're going to show Venom tomorrow. I don't think so, man. I don't think they're going to show Venom. I'm thinking Venom might be real. I hope it is. That would be awesome. I got a fake game collection. It's a cardboard cutout, bro. Well, no. If it was a cardboard cutout, it'd be much bigger with a lot more games on it. Yo, that'd be so fucking funny. Oh my God, that'd be the greatest troll ever. Have like massive shelves behind me or something, looking like I got like hundreds of games. Just to one day reveal it's like, yeah, it's just wallpaper, bro. Goddamn, Richrod. Do they give you receipts now for your Game Pass subscription? Double Jump Games does mystery boxes, and you can say PS5 and whatever console you want. Let me look at this. Double Jump? Double Jump Video Games Mystery Box. Oh. This is interesting. Please read before purchasing. Oh shit. Okay. Oh wow, they have everything. I never heard of this website. They have every freaking device. So you can get PlayStation 5 accessories, PlayStation 5 games. I'm a little confused though. So they have all these filters. Product grade, product condition. I think I might be looking at the wrong thing. Wow. Okay, so mystery box. Price between $50 and $10,000. Holy shit, who would pay $10,000? That's nuts. Number 1. It says, in the note section of your order, please provide us with the following info for your mystery box. If there's no note, your order may be canceled or refunded. What console/categories would you prefer the game items from? Do you want quality or quantity? Good games or filler titles? Do you only want games that are complete? Oh, this is interesting. So you could, okay. All right, I'll try to double jump mystery box. I'll try to keep this in mind, Ray. Maybe in the future that's something I could purchase. I basically just tell them, like, just give me a shit ton of PS5 games. It'd probably be very expensive though, man. They also have a YouTube channel. Do I want quality or I mean, honestly, in the case of like doing a mystery box for PS5, I don't know if I would choose. I guess I would choose quantity. Maybe at first. I mean, PS5 games are not cheap though. That's the thing. Prince, you're interested in the new InZone headsets? Hold on. Sorry. Yeah. You were about to pull the trigger on some A50s, but you'll wait. Oh, the Astro A50s? Yeah, well, I mean, this new InZone headset that apparently is going to be revealed tomorrow. That's the rumor anyway. It's going to be like $300 or something, or $350, something crazy. Ray, you're saying I purchased from them. If you pick quantity, you'll get more stuff, like kids or sports games. Quality gives you better games. Hmm. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I mean, I don't know if I want. I mean, maybe you could request both potentially. I'm not sure. Like a mix of quality and quantity. Because I mean, yeah, if you open like a box and it's just like, here's a shit ton of sports games, it's like, check out their YouTube channel. They pull mystery boxes on the channel. Tarnished, you're back. Let me see if I can find it. Double jump. Double jump video games. Oh, that's cool. Oh, yeah, that's cool. They have like a whole dedicated channel. They got a whole thing going on. A retro video game toy and movie store located in Vancouver, Washington. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah, I never heard of them before. You know what's funny, dude? I see there's this video that was uploaded 2 days ago. It's titled "It's Finally Happening" New Store Announcement. This video was recommended to me, right? Like a couple, I guess, yeah, like 2 days ago when it was first came out. And I was like looking at it. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I didn't click on it. But it's pretty cool. You found a bunch of Mario bundles at your local Target, Prince? Chris, you're saying MotorStorm probably has the best chance at being a success from an IP in the PS3 era. There have been rumors that MotorStorm is making a comeback, that apparently it is in development. Oh, God, Rich, did you drop another direct? Okay. Oh, I have 2 direct donations, actually. So, Rich, this is good. I missed the first one. We have Brownie, who tipped $2. He says, with a normal chat, Rich. I know. A normal, reasonable direct donation message that doesn't get text. He says, hi, big fan of the channel. Keep up the great work. Just starting Death Stranding Director's Cut on the Pro. Don't know why I never played it till now. Well, Brownie, thank you so much for the direct donation, buddy. And yeah, dude, I hope you enjoy it. There have been a lot of people who, building up to the launch of Death Stranding 2, they kind of, you know, they feel inspired to maybe give the first Death Stranding a shot. I've actually seen quite a few people who wanted to go play the first Death Stranding before diving into the sequel. So I hope you enjoy it, man. And if you do enjoy it and you're able to beat it, definitely enjoy Death Stranding 2, because I like Death Stranding 2 even more, man. So thank you, Brownie, for the direct donation, bud. And we have another direct donation, unfortunately, from Richrod. He's right back to 15, guys. Richrod is back to owing 15 memberships. Corey paid one of his debts down, and he's like, no, Richrod, this is not Ray. Richrod says, Colt loves jizz and Phil so much he was offended by Sydney Sweeney's AE ad, quoted as saying, quote, Jez is the only beautiful human in jeans, end quote, fruit bucket. Bro just said fruit bucket. Rich, you're gonna have to drop 10 memberships, bro. Rich, you are gonna have to get us to the 50 mark. This is unacceptable, bro. Is Death Stranding 2 a physical game? Yes, you can get a physical version of Death Stranding 2. Oh yeah, that would be real nice, Chase. Yeah, Richrod is a special guest. I'm sure it'll go great. Get canceled in like a week. Well, I mean, what even is cancellation at this point? I'm sure it would go well. Yeah. Rich would love that. Rich has been asking for that for a long time now, but not happening, bro. Never. Would set records. Shems, you're heading out. Thanks for hanging out, Shems. I do appreciate it. Okay, I think we'll go for maybe a little bit longer. We'll do like a last call, I suppose. We've been streaming for 3.5 hours. I really got to get to work on Death Stranding, dude. Like, we're gonna have a long stream tomorrow. Probably a longer than usual stream. So I got to make sure not to burn myself out today. Let me see. Yeah. So we'll do a last call here, guys. If you want to drop any more support, if you want to drop any more membership gifts, if you want to become a member, we're sitting at 37 members on the day. I've been pushing to try to get to that 50. Seems like we're not going to hit it today. Not a big deal. You guys have still been showing great support. But any super chats, direct donations, now would be the time to drop them because we're going to wrap this up very soon. Are you seeing the Returnal Xbox leaks? We've been we covered that earlier. I have yet to see that leak in a like I haven't seen it in a reputable place so far. Somebody told me earlier that it's coming from Mag, but I haven't seen it reported anywhere, truthfully. I'm looking now. Hold on. Let me see if I can find anything on it. Mr. Boomstick says breaking. Nixus Software may be porting PlayStation exclusive Returnal to Xbox if the deal between the two companies gets approved. Oh, here we go. So I guess this is the direct source. Mag says here some big news coming from behind the scenes. And I guess he put a video out. Returnal coming to Xbox, question mark. Yeah, I can't. I mean, this is all I'm seeing on it so far. It doesn't seem like there's any other, like there's no one corroborating it. I mean, I'm going to be honest. Like, if I'm just being brutally honest, man, it would be fine if they port Returnal to Xbox. I'm not gonna throw a fit. Like, hell, I hope it gets more sales. It's not selling shit on Xbox, dude. Like, you're talking about a game that didn't, it didn't do shit on PC, unfortunately. And I think it struggled to even do really well on PlayStation. I think it did obviously decent on PlayStation, but it didn't do huge numbers. So it's like, if Sony wants to do that, like if Sony really wants to take a game like Returnal and squeeze out like another 100,000 units or something by putting it on Xbox, then go for it, but I don't see the logic in that. Yeah, like I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's worth porting. The only logic, like I said earlier, that I can find, the only logic is if they're like, we want to try to convince Xbox players to buy Soros for PlayStation. If that's their logic, it kind of makes sense. Give them Returnal, let them play it, get them hyped. But if that was the case, then why not just put it on Game Pass? If it's just about, why not just put it out there for free on PlayStation Plus? Like, I don't know that I believe this, but if it's true, I fail to see why Sony would even waste their time. Like, if you're going to have Nixus port a single-player game to Xbox, you should probably port one that's actually going to sell. And that's no offense to Returnal. Returnal's amazing. Returnal's awesome. And I would love for Returnal to sell millions of copies on Xbox. But that's not going to happen, dude. You know? If you can't sell a couple million on PlayStation, you're going to be lucky if you sell even a couple 100,000 on Xbox, bro. Like, so I don't know. I don't know that I believe this. It's not even that I don't believe it. It's just if it does turn out to be true, I can't follow the logic. Because at that point, it doesn't make much sense to me. But like I said earlier, if they want to put it everywhere, like one full suite, Switch, Xbox, try to get the biggest squeeze possible, I can kind of understand that. But MBG, that would be more damaging to the brand than anything. No point in a Returnal port. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand it. You know what I mean? Like, you could, like, if something like Spider-Man was announced, you could rationalize it where it's like, well, they want to maximize the sales of a major property like Spider-Man, which is owned by Marvel. It's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. You can rationalize something like Helldivers because it's live service. They want as many players as possible to keep the live service thriving, to keep this multiplayer game thriving. That makes sense. Returnal, what the fuck would the point of Returnal be, dude? I'm serious. Like, I just don't even know at that point. Like, Sony, what do you hope to get here? I don't know. But one thing's for sure. Based off of some of the, I went on Twitter and I just typed in Returnal in the search bar. Based on some of the stuff that I'm seeing pop up, you would think Xbox players. I'm gonna be honest, man. Like, I haven't seen any Xbox players talking about Returnal pretty much ever. Now I'm just seeing it plastered all over the place. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it would suddenly sell well. I don't know. I doubt it. But I guess time will tell. Time will tell. If Spider-Man is rumored, I'd say, yeah, it could happen. It will likely sell a couple of million copies on Xbox. Well, so far, there has been no actual rumor of, ironically enough, I mean, you've been seeing people fucking on their hands and knees begging for Spider-Man on Xbox, but we haven't seen anything. We haven't heard anything, is what I mean to say. There have been zero rumors of Xbox getting Spider-Man. Honestly, I think the reason why Spider-Man constantly is being discussed, possibly going to Xbox, is because it's like I said, dude, like, I know it seems like, you know what, fuck it, I will throw shade. Like, these guys I'm throwing shade at clowns. Like, why? What's the problem, right? These Xbox players are literally like crawling, screaming for Spider-Man. And I think it's kind of like, look, I understand that they want that so badly because it's like what you said about Xbox, now Sony's doing it. I get that, but it's like, guys, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, at what point, it's like, calm down a little bit, all right? Like, I know you want Spider-Man, and maybe it will happen, but like, I'm just going to be honest, man. It's a little bit pathetic. It's a little bit pathetic. Where it's like, guys, I mean, I understand that it's just if you want it that badly, like it's kind of like, look, when I see, it's like, I'll try to be fair on the other end. It's like when I see certain PlayStation players acting like they're like thirsting for Halo. It's like, you can play Halo right now, man. Like, I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand. And see, that's where you see this separation, where it's like Spider-Man launching on Xbox, if it were to happen, it has nothing to do with playing Spider-Man. It has everything to do with, you just lost your exclusive. And the same thing applies to Halo, man. Like, you can play Halo right now on most devices in most places. Not PlayStation, though. And I get it. And I understand. It's like, well, there's two types of people, is what I'm trying to say. So if we look at PlayStation players on this side talking about wanting Halo, and then you look at Xbox players on this side talking about wanting Spider-Man, there's two players on each side. On the PlayStation side, there is the PlayStation player that screams about wanting Halo and does nothing but talk about wanting Halo, not because they like Halo, not because they care about Halo, not even because they really even want to play it, but because they want to see Xbox players lose their minds at losing Halo to PlayStation. Then you have another PlayStation player that actually is excited at the notion of Halo coming to PlayStation because they really want to play it. They want to get trophies, and they're excited at the idea of being able to play it on their PS5 or PS5 Pro with the DualSense and get trophies and enjoy the Halo experience on PlayStation. Okay? The exact same thing applies to the Xbox side, man, where you have, and unfortunately, yes, on Twitter, this is where you see that player, right? That player that's not advocating for this for the right reasons. On Twitter, there's the Xbox player that they just want Spider-Man, not because they're interested in playing Spider-Man or they're excited. It's like when we saw Death Stranding release on Xbox, and you saw this certain group of of Xbox players suddenly they love Death Stranding. They love it. It was on it. Death Stranding was out for years at that point, but suddenly now they get it. It's like, okay, whatever, bro. Like, yeah, there's just too many people where they're coming from a disingenuous place where it's like, yes, there's that Xbox player. They don't really care about Spider-Man. They're not interested in playing Spider-Man on Xbox. They're just interested in seeing it being removed as a PlayStation exclusive and put on the opposite console. And then you have the Xbox player who actually is genuinely interested in playing Spider-Man on their Xbox and unlocking achievements and be like, wow, it's cool to play this game. Is there some overlap between these players? Sure. But this is why I feel like, listen, man, I know that there are PlayStation fans and enthusiasts and players who, when I say something like this, they don't agree with it and they don't like it, or they just, they think I've lost my way or whatever. I want to see Sony do it. At this point, I want to see Sony rip the Band-Aid so we can just watch these people squirm, dude. Because think about it. Like, once it's over, it's over. And there are going to be so many people that the only thing that was keeping them even remotely relevant was yelling at the top of their lungs and constantly typing toxic tweets on Twitter. Those were the only things keeping them even remotely relevant that gave them any attention. And once it's gone, it's gone. And from that point forward, what's going to be left? Reminiscing about the console wars, I suppose, which is fine. I'm sure that'll happen. But you're going to see people try so desperately to force it. They'll move on to politics. There you go. Actually, there you go. Yeah, they would do great in politics, apparently. Would I buy an Xbox to play State of Decay 3 if it doesn't come to PS5? Yes. Yes, I would. Don't tell Microsoft that. How did Death Stranding 1 do on Xbox? Oh, I have no idea. Probably not well. I mean, it was sold for $20, like 5 years later. I have no idea. But yeah, it would be like, I would question the logic behind Sony releasing Returnal on Xbox, but I would support it. And I would support them dropping Spider-Man on Xbox simply because it's like, all right, you know, I'm tired of seeing the nonsense, dude. And I want to see if I'm correct in the end. That's another reason. I've talked to you guys about my theory and my prediction. My prediction is that Sony could do this and nothing will change. And I know that there are people who definitely disagree with me, and that's fine. That's why I find it interesting. I've had that conversation about, like, you know, if Sony were to go day and date on PC or just full multi-platform, how, you know, there's a lot of people that believe like Sony's going to really fuck themselves over, especially with the console. Like, they're going to kill their console. And I just have this strong feeling where it's like, I don't think so. Like, I think Sony could do exactly what Microsoft is doing, and they'll lose some console sales, but generally speaking, they're still going to sell 60, 70, 80 million units, 100 million when it's all said and done. I do believe that. And it just would be very interesting if Sony does pull that trigger. If, like, you know, a year, 2 years goes by where suddenly Sony's putting these games on Xbox and on Switch and whatever, it would be super interesting if it's like, and they're still literally on top, doing better than ever. Like, my question is, what do you say then? Like, if Sony achieves their goal of they want it all, they want the best of all worlds, and then they actually get the best of all worlds, what do you say then? And that's honestly what I would love to see occur. Because at that point, what you would see is Sony doing the best they've ever done, PlayStation killing it, while simultaneously doing so in a world where the console wars are over and the fanboy wars or whatever it is, are done and no longer exist. That to me seems like a pretty cool outcome, truthfully. Like, because I wouldn't lose, because it's like, I've always told people that the reason I'm here is I like to play on the console and I like Sony's games. Nothing has changed in that regard at all. Exclusivity's always just kind of been, it's always been this kind of bonus factor, you know what I mean? Where it's like, damn, dude, there's no denying that exclusivity will move people over to your console who are on the fence. Some people anyway, me being one of them. But as long as they keep certain things stable, I guess you could say, what they do beyond that and the outcome it produces, if Sony can keep the console healthy and doing well, and they can keep producing games that interest me and excite me, and the only thing that is lost is the toxic bullshit conversations and rhetoric. If that's the only thing that dies at the end of all this, and a lot of people go with it and are like left on some island, I got to admit, I'm not opposed to that, man. I'm not. But, you know, obviously the last thing I want to see Sony do is like destroy their own fucking console, but I just don't. I think it would take a lot for them to do that, truthfully. But anyway, here I am still going on and on. I think this pretty much does it, guys. I definitely got through all of my topics that I wanted to discuss today. We talked about a bunch of extra stuff as well. This does seem like a good place to wrap up today's podcast episode. And so we will now shift over to the outro here. I did put out a news video earlier, by the way. So if you just want a regular news video with regular topics, just, you know, bullet point by bullet point, you can go check that out. Before I end the stream, though, I do want to give a big thank you to everybody who tuned into the show today. If you're somebody who watched live, or maybe you catch it later because you can't watch it live, thank you so much for your support. And I also want to give a very big shout out to anybody who dropped any support today. We are ending at 37 members, so a big thank you to everybody who contributed to the membership goal, and anybody who dropped any super chats or direct donations. Yes, even Richrod. Thank you guys so much for allowing me to do this. We're totally fan funded. You guys make it possible. We will be back here tomorrow for Gamescom opening night live. I'll be going live if everything goes according to plan. I'll be going live at my normal time, 12 p.m. Eastern, and we'll hang out for a little bit leading into the show, and we'll see what ends up, being there. And I also want to finally give a special shout out and thank you to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the streams. So if you guys see him in the comments with those timestamps, make sure you give him some thanks and show him some love. He does a great job. And we appreciate what you do, Devil Shooter. And yeah, that pretty much does it. So guys, please enjoy the rest of your day, evening, or night. And I will be back here tomorrow. We'll watch opening night live and we'll take it from there. So until the next one, guys, take care.